So coming to our final chapter of this Ramananda Rai Sangvad, and our appreciation for how we've reached this immaculate last chapter, where actually Mahaprabhu is going to reveal his true identity to Ramananda Rai. So this is very, very powerful, sacred last description of this remarkable pastime. And we're appreciating where we've come through. We've come through all these various steps, stages. And we should understand that these stages, they indicate lifetimes. It's not that just, this Varnashram system, for example, is just a one lifetime stage necessarily. This can be many, many lifetimes. We can be in that stage of Varnashram, or in that accepting Varnashram as being the sadhya, the goal of life. And we should understand how exalted is that stage also, even though this is the very first proposition that Ramananda Roy is presenting. Or we can say, actually, from reading this together with all of you, I've just come to the very solid feeling that, of course, all of Ramananda Roy's words are directly coming from Mahaprabhu himself. Mahaprabhu has orchestrated this conversation to gift to the jivas these truths. So coming to Varnashram system is a very exalted stage through all the different species of life for a start, and then the human species of life that are away from India, for example, in Europe, etc., barbarians, tribal people, and so on, to elevate themselves through all those different lives to finally take birth in Varnashram system, which is only in India. This we should understand is why Krishna, Ram, all the avatars only manifest in India. It's described they will only manifest where the Varnashram system is in place or has been in place. That environment is conducive to the advent or the incarnations of all the incarnations of Krishna. They all manifest just in Bharatvash because Varnashram was here. So Varnashram is a very exalted position, but it's just the beginning of the journey in this remarkable walk or pathway that Mahaprabhu is chalking out. So just to appreciate that, put it in context. And then further, Nishkaram Karma Yoga, which is a great step up from Varnashram. Nishkaram Karma, when we're offering the fruits of our activities to a supreme God. We may not know that supreme God, but still there's a mood of offering our the fruits of our activities to an object. So this is another huge step. So they're not just, we're going through the way we're going through, like in a few weeks, just scrolling through all the different stages. We should open it right out and see the enormity of all these stages in the evolution of the human life, of the conditioned soul. And then we come to Sharanagati, which is such a profound stage. And many great saintly persons, they spend their whole lives just talking about Sharanagati. So what an exalted stage this is to come to itself. And then the stage of Gyan Mishra Bhakti. This is like a Gyani focusing more on moksha, something. Now they're going something beyond this material existence, we can say. So that is also another tremendous step. And then Gyan Shunya Bhakti is an even more extraordinary step, because that step is taking us off the material problem. It's material platform. It's putting Gyan aside altogether. That path without Gyan. So Gyan Shunya Bhakti is accepted by Mahaprabhu, but still he wants to go further. And then after this Gyan Shunya Bhakti, we come to Prem. And in this Prem, This is actually the prema of, like Shantaras, as we've explained many times. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na Sochiti na Kanchati. This is also an extraordinary platform to come to. But Mahaprabhu wants to go even further than this. I'm saying all this just to try to capture the entire continuation, or the melding together of all these steps to then appreciate more the final sadhya. So then after prem is described, then dasya ras is described, more in the mood of Vaikuntha bhav. We've described many times Vaikuntha has 2.5 rasas, Shantaras, Dasyaras, and a little bit of Sakyaras. So this is we're still at that stage, but that is still a very extremely exalted stage. Bhishma Dev, for example, he was going beyond moksha and he was going to Vaikuntha. So in Vaikuntha, these liberations of Salokya, Samipya, Sharsti, Sarupya, etc. are there. So it's like a glorified, liberated condition in Vaikuntha. And it's a very high stage. Bhishma Dev was a remarkable personality, a great saintly personality. But still his education, we can say, or what he understood was the sadhya, was as far as Vaikuntha. And then Sakyaras is higher than Dasyaras. And then Vatsalyaras, we might touch, I've described before, on the moods of Lord Ram, his relationship with his mothers, we can say, Kaushalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi, etc., and a whole family situation. So this is becoming very much more personalized now in Vatsalya Bhav. Certainly with Devaki and Vasudeva in Mathura, this was very much now the mood of Krishna's personal form has become very much strong and manifesting. And then we take a big leap across from Vatsalya Bhav to Kanta Prem, it's described, or Madhurya Prem. And this Madhurya Prem is only in Vrindavan. It's nowhere else, this Madhurya Prem. So this Madhurya Prem, and we begin to hear about the Brijbasis and their Prem. And we hear about that in connection with Vatsalya Bhav, also in relationship with Yashoda and Nanda Baba, but really becomes more fully opened out in this Kanta Prem, this Madhurya Prem. And then we progress even beyond that Kanta Prem. Mahaprabhu wants to know more. So now in this Sangvad, we start to establish and erect the pillars for what's about to come. And now Radha's Prem is going to be considered the sadhya. What is the love that Sri Radhika has for Krishna? And this is actually the identity of Mahaprabhu. What is the love? This is part of his, or one of his particular, he has these 3 desires. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrishovanaiva Swadyenat Buddha Madbhuta Adurima Kidrishovabhatiya Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Vedilova. These 3 desires are there. And so the glories of Radha's love are in the first desire. So this prem of Radhika is described at this junction in the conversation. And now Mahaprabhu is going to inquire to go even further than this. So in order to go further, we have to erect the pillars of Krishna Tattva and Shakti Tattva or Radha Tattva. So those are the next 2 propositions of the sadhyas that are being described. And then the practically the conclusion, in fact, the sadhya itself of Prem, Vilas, Vivart. This is described after Radha Tattva. So all of these truths, I'm just going through like a whirlwind through these, but they are all unpacked that we can spend many weeks and months contemplating and appreciating the link and the chain that Mahaprabhu is giving us to make it very simple for our progress. And then after the sadhya, then how to attain the sadhya. Mahaprabhu is so generous-hearted, his gifts are so munificent. He's telling us how to attain that sadhya through Sakhi Bhav, through service to the Sakhis. And then there's so many verses describing the glories of Sakhi Bhav. And this is actually the abhideya, the goal for the conditioned jiva. So we went through that. And then finally Mahaprabhu gives us even more. He goes through questioning, questions and answers. He gives us 13 questions are described. What is the greatest knowledge? What is the greatest treasure? What song should we sing? Who is to be worshipped? Who is to be honored the most? Very clear, very distinct, absolute. We can't make any mistake on this path. Mahaprabhu is giving us the path precisely. There's no abstraction here at all. It's not like maybe this, a little bit of that, a little bit. No, it's absolutely, categorically clear, crystal clear. And then after the questions, now we have a very sacred chapter, this final chapter, which actually going to principally bring out Srimad Bhagavatam. This is actually the truth that's going to come out in this final chapter, is the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is like the seat or the platform where all these tattvas will reside upon. These tattvas are going to sit on this seat. We know this verse. What is it? Aradayo Bhagavan Rajesha Tanayas Tattama Vrindavana Ramya Kachit Upasana Braja Vadur Bhagena Vakapite. Now these are also progressions. Who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Brajendra Nandan Shamsundra Tanayas Tat, the son of Nanda Baba. And who is to be worshipped, or who is worshipping the most, are the gopis. This Upasan, the Brajadevis are worshipping. And then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam, no, that's the last line, sorry. Shrimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumatonata. That's the fourth line of this verse. Aradayo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tad Dhamma Vrindavanam Ramya Kachit Upasana Braja Vardu Varagena Vakalpite. Shrimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumaton. Well, we've actually walked through this verse in this whole Samvad. We've described Krishna as the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord of Vrindavan. Then we've described Ramya Kachit, we've described the gopis. And of course, thinking of the gopis, we're remembering Sri Radhika. And now we're going to be presenting the Srimad Bhagavatam, Pramanam, Amalam Prema Purnatunara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matam Idam Tatradaro Naparaha. This is Mahaprabhu's opinion. And he's giving us that in this verse, and he's giving us that also in this Rai Ramanand Samba. So catch all the links together and see the completeness of of this gift of Mahaprabhu. So now we come to this chapter on 235. It's called the Final Evening. So we'll begin on page 235.
261 to 264.
So in the Madhya Lila, this is 262 to 265. These are the verses actually. Okay. No, pretty straight.
Ishta Goshti Krishna Kata Kahi Katakshana Prabhu Pada Dharin Rai Kare Nivedana Krishna Tattva Radha Tattva Prema Tattva Sar Rasa Tattva Leela Tattva Vividha Prakar Yeta Tattva Mora Chitte Kaile Prakashan Brahma Ke Vedayena Padaila Narayan Antaryami Ishwarera Ye Riti Hai Bahire Nakahe Vastu Prakasha Hridaye.
So before I read the translation, which is captured all in one paragraph, I want to just pull out this second verse that we just sang, Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, Prema Tattva Sar. This is actually verse 263 in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And just want to put the accent on this verse for a moment. There is a variety of transcendental truths. The truth about Krishna, the truth about Radharani, the truth about their loving affairs, the truth about transcendental humors, and the truth about the Lord's pastimes. So these are all the truths that we're unpacking in this remarkable Sangvad. All these truths, Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, actually becomes to Sakhi Tattva, Leela Tattva, Rasa Tattva. All these truths are there. So the translation of all these verses is in one single paragraph here. That evening, when Sri Ramananda Rai came to meet Sriman Mahaprabhu, they discussed topics of Sri Krishna for some time. After this, Ramananda Rai caught hold of the lotus feet of the Lord and prayed with great humility, "You have manifested within my heart the truths about Krishna, Radha, Prem, Ras, and varieties of pastimes. This is exactly how Sri Narayan imparted the Vedas to Lord Brahma. The Supersoul, or the Supreme Controller within everyone's heart, always speaks internally, not externally, thus granting a manifestation of the desired object within. This is his general practice." So this will be opened out now. As the Svetasvarta Upanishad 6.8 describes, Sri Bhagavan manifested and compiled the Vedas, which were disclosed within the heart of Brahma.
Yo brahmanam vidadati purvam yo vai vedanscha prahinoti tasmai tam hadevam atma buddhi prakasham mumukshurvai sharanam aham prapadye.
So I would encourage you all, if you're on the WhatsApp group, to look at the documents that we posted today on these verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, first verse, first canto, which are going to be unpacked now. So in relationship to Lord Brahma, revealing these truths from Krishna. So I accept the shelter of that Bhagavan Sri Krishna, who in the beginning of creation inspired or manifested the Vedic knowledge within the heart of Brahma, and who manifests knowledge of the self, Atma Buddhi. It is also said,
Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate.
Srimad Bhagavatam 2.8.28. Sri Shukadev Goswami spoke this Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana, which is equal to the Vedas, in the same manner that Bhagavan himself spoke to Lord Brahma at the beginning of the creation. So this is actually, Shukadev Goswami is saying this to the sages at Naimisharanya who are understanding Shukadev Goswami speaking to Parikshit Maharaj.
Kalena nashta pralaye vaniyam veda samhita mayadav brahmane prokta dharmo yasyam mad atmakaha.
This is from the 11th canto, 14th chapter, verse 3. My dear Uddhav, with the passage of time, this message of Vedic knowledge was lost when the annihilation took place. Thus, when the time of creation came again, I took it upon myself to instruct Brahma, and in these instructions I indeed described devotional service to me, Bhagavat Dharma. So this conversation is taking place between Uddhav and Krishna before the residents of Dwarka go to Prabhash for that final pastime, when all the men of the Yadu dynasty, the Vishnu dynasties, etc., they annihilate each other. So this is the final pastime between Uddhav and Krishna. Okay.
Leela kataste katita samasataha katsyena najopi abhidhatum ishaha.
So this is from the 12th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th chapter, 39. So Shukadev Goswami is speaking to Parikshit. O best of the Kurus, I have given a brief exposition of Sri Bhagavan's pastimes. Even Lord Brahma himself would be incapable of describing these pastimes in their entirety.
Kasmai yena vibhasito yam atulo jnana pradipa pura.
This is again from the 12th canto, 13th chapter. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the best manifestation of knowledge of the truth of the Supreme Lord. Bhagavan Narayan had previously manifested to Lord Brahma. So these are the pramans for the efficacy of the Bhagavatam itself. Sri Rai's purpose here is to show the similarity between the way that the original poet, Sri Brahma, received complete Vedic knowledge within his mind, simply by the will of Sri Bhagavan, and the way that Sriman Mahaprabhu manifested all these truths in his heart, in the heart of Sri Ramananda Rai, and then had him reveal these same truths by speaking them. So this is making the Ramananda Roy is making the example of when Lord Brahma was speaking this Bhagavatam after hearing from Krishna. Krishna is speaking into the heart of Lord Brahma, and then Lord Brahma is speaking to Narad, these four principal chatushlokis of the Bhagavatam, which he's going to relate to Narad. So it's the same mood that Lord Brahma has received this knowledge from Lord Narayan, and he's speaking now to Narad. So it's the revealed in Lord Brahma's heart, just like these truths have been revealed in the heart of Ramananda Roy. This is the comparison here, because this is what we're going to speak about basically for the rest of this evening, tonight. Go ahead.
The next verse.
Oh yes, the next verse. Oh, the next verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.1 gives evidence for Sri Ramananda Rai's statement. So this understanding has all been gathered by the commentators, what's about to come. And now Ramananda Rai is going to substantiate all this by giving this first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the first verse.
8.265 Janmadyasya yatonvayat itarataschatteshu abhignaswarat tene brahma hridaya adikavaye muhyanti yat surayah tejo varimritam yata vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha dhamna svena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi.
For the serious student of wanting to appreciate this base platform line of the Srimad Bhagavatam in relationship to all the sadhyas that we've described, then this verse is paramount. And we've posted 3 different understandings of this verse by Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and by my Gurudev. So I would encourage you all to print these 3 documents out and to always have them close by and study the moods and this foundation of Srimad Bhagavatam coming from this one singular verse. So the translation, we meditate on that Paramatma, that form of eternality and truth, by whom this world was created, maintained, and destroyed. He who pervades all spiritual substances. From that transcendental being come the spiritual world and the individual living being, both of which are similar in nature to him, this Achintya Bheda Abhed. The temporary material creation, however, is different from him. It is not inert matter. He is not inert matter. He is conscious. In other words, this is to defeat any impersonalist. He is not dependent. He is self-manifest. He is not Hiranyagarbha Brahma, who appeared from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Rather, he bestowed the Vedic knowledge upon Brahma. He causes even greatly learned scholars to become bewildered in the way that illusion creates mirages, such as the so-called appearance of water in the effulgent sun rays, land in water, and water on dry land. This material creation consisting of the states of sleep, dreaming, and deep dreamless sleep, is brought about by the three modes of material nature. This verse is saying everything in existence is here. By his illusory potency, this material creation appears eternal, although temporary. By his own self-manifest effulgence, he remains always and in every condition liberated from the illusory potency named Maya and her activities. So as I've just described, we can study this verse through these three different commentaries. This explanation is based on the commentary of Sridhar Swami. So now we're having a fourth commentary. Our Goswami lineage has also presented the following explanation of this verse. So this is another explanation from our Goswamis also. All evidence ascertains that it is that supreme truth which creates, maintains, and destroys this universe. Upon deliberating on both the apparent and hidden meanings, one sees that only he is to be known. It is he, as he is the original form of all existence. It is he alone who is the self-manifest and independent master of this world that we see. It is he who, as the indwelling supersoul, gave teachings to Adikavaya, the original poet, Adikavi, the original poet, Lord Brahma, is that all-pervading truth. I'll read that again. It is he who, as the indwelling supersoul, because that's the most important part, as the indwelling supersoul, gave teachings to Kavi, the original poet, Lord Brahma, on that all-pervading truth. Contemplating him, all greatly learned scholars and pundits fall into illusion again and again. The five material elements seem to exist in him, but this is like a mirage in the desert. In him, the three types of creative potency, Jiva Shakti, which manifests the Jivas, Maya Shakti, which manifests the temporary universe, and Chit Shakti, which manifests the spiritual world, are present in a real form, by the potency generated by his own Swarup, not from another agent or his Atma Shakti. He remains eternally beyond ignorance. We meditate upon that absolute truth, Sri Krishna. So this is a encapsulation of everything in existence. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has given another translation of this verse in his book, Sri Bhagavat Arka Marichi Mala. A minute portion of the internal potency, Swarup Shakti, is the Tatashta, or Jiva Shakti, and the shadow portion of that internal potency is called the external potency, or Maya Shakti. From the Tatashta, or Jiva Shakti of Bhagavan, the individual spirit souls are manifest, and from Maya Shakti, the material world has manifested. Due to having a consciousness of separation, and thus being opposed to the service of Bhagavan since time immemorial, the soul is put into a condition whereby he is illusioned into thinking that he is controlled by material nature. In other words, he's controlled by his body. His body, the illusion of being the body. The body is in control. My material mind, my material desires, etc., my material environment is what is controlling me, rather than the soul under the guidance of the supersoul within. Bewildered by the false ego and mistaking an object for something else altogether, that's his body, he considers the material body to be the real self. This is the illusion, such a deep illusion. The soul thus remains connected to this material world. The conclusion is that the material world, full of both moving and non-moving entities, is manifested both directly and indirectly from Bhagavan. So it's manifested directly through the Mayic energy and indirectly from Bhagavan's Chit Shakti as the Swarup of the Jiva internally. So in both instances. mixing together Purush, Prakriti, and the Mahatattva, there are a total of 28 ingredients in the creation. From these 28 tattvas, all the other moving and non-moving groups of living entities are said to be manifest. And of all these tattvas, the omniscient Supreme Person is the knower and the embodiment of real knowledge. The Lord is that supreme. Scholars have described the method by which one may differentiate between two objects, even though their intrinsic natures may be identical. It may seem identical. Among the 28 elements of the creation, there are two types of Purushas, or conscious entities. One is Purna, full Purush, the supreme controller, he who is the lord of the illusory potency called Maya. And the second is Anu, like Anu Chit, the Jiva, Anu Purush, or the infinitesimal conscious entity, the Jiva, who can be controlled by Maya. Thus Bhagavan, the complete consciousness, is he who knows both the created and the uncreated. So this is substantiating Krishna as the Supreme Person and his illusory energy and the Jiva. These are called three Vastus, which we describe in the first, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is described in the first chapter of Jaivadhamma. The three Vastus, these three Vastus cannot be broken down any. Krishna is that supreme. Maya energy is a complete separate, and Jiva Tattva is also a totally separate energy. They're three completely distinct energies, Vastus. That Bhagavan, who is perfectly served by the strength of his own Swarup Shakti, his own potency, is situated in his own Swarup, even before the creation. Thus he is complete and self-manifesting. Aham eva sam eva gre. This is the first of the Chatushlokis. Krishna is saying to Brahma, or Narayan is saying to Brahma, before there was anything in existence, there was me. Before there was Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, anything, there was simply me. I was that only person in existence at that time. Aham eva sam eva gre, this first verse. If Rasa Manjari is looking, she can post that first verse also on our thread for you to study and appreciate. After bestowing mercy upon the heart of the original poet, Sri Brahma was able to manifest the real meaning of the Vedas, which, due to being exceedingly difficult to understand, even for vastly learned persons, are the cause of their bewilderment. So vastly learned persons become bewildered because of this illusory energy. It's not dependent on their learning and their studying, as we studied repeatedly. It's dependent on the kripa, on the mercy of that person who's already connected with that spiritual energy, which is Sri Guru. There are three types of creation, namely that pertaining to spirit, that pertaining to the jiva, and that pertaining to dull matter. There are some examples of creation pertaining to spirit, such as fire, just as fire stays unmanifest until forced to appear. We've said so many times, fire is within all wood in existence, but it only will ignite either by rubbing together with another piece of wood or that is already on fire, until it is forced to appear upon the rubbing of two sticks. In the same way, even though the entire spiritual creation is eternally present, it only manifests according to the desire of Bhagavan. It's eternal, yet according to his desire it will manifest. Just like the fire is, we can say for the example's sake, eternally present in wood, but it will not manifest until a certain circumstance manifests for it to manifest. But the fire is there eternally. Similarly, this material, this spiritual creation is eternally present. It's always there. There are other examples pertaining to the creation of the jiva, such as water. Upon becoming excessively cold, water becomes hard like a stone. Again, we have this example in the beginning of Jayabadama. It's called Nishag, when the ice or iceberg takes on a very hard form. It loses its original nature. It gains an acquired nature. This is called Nishag. This acquired nature is what the hardness of the mentality of the false ego creates, a harshness in connection with the Mayic energy. It loses its intrinsic, soft, sweet, spiritual nature. Upon becoming excessively cold, water becomes hard like stone, and upon being excessively heated, it becomes vaporous. So it transforms. There's vikar from the original, but still there is the original, but it's been transformed by the outside circumstances. The jiva emanates as a tiny particle of spirit, Chitkarna, from the sun-like Sri Krishna. Upon becoming opposed to the service of Bhagavan, the jiva takes shelter of a transformation of his original dharma and becomes bound by the deluding potency called Maya, just like the water becomes bound by the atmosphere, the very cold atmosphere, and becomes ice, or the very hot atmosphere and becomes vaporous. It loses its swabhav, its intrinsic nature. When the jiva becomes inclined towards Bhagavan and takes shelter of Bhagavat Prem, his heart melts and becomes exceedingly soft and affectionate. This is the transformation back into his original swarup, his original swabhav. He becomes very soft and affectionate in his nature. The examples are beautiful. The fruit of this is the inclination to engage in the service of Bhagavan. This is what the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is trying to encourage. And this is what we're breaking down, this verse from the Bhagavatam. We haven't moved away from this first verse. Pertaining to the creation of inert matter, the example of the element earth is given. By fashioning clay, we can make pots and earthen bowls. In the same way, the material creation is simply a transformation of the sum total of the material elements, pradhan. Pradhan is the original conglomerate, manifested nature of the ingredients. The pradhan is just like the ingredients within a mother's womb. All the ingredients are there to produce a child, but it can't produce the child until the seed of the male has been injected into the womb. Only then that seed will agitate the pradhan to produce the prakriti, which is the material energy. And from that material energy will come the mahatattva, three modes of material nature, time will be activated, etc. But the seed has to manifest. So the pradhan is the original unconglomerate, homogeneous, we can say, aspect, the pradhan, material elements, the total material elements. By Bhagavan's inconceivable potency, achintya shakti, the creation is certainly a reality. It is not false because it has emanated from Satya Swarup, that pure Swarup, Bhagavan, the very form of truth, even though it is temporary and destructible by nature. It's interesting we're talking about this subject today because tomorrow is Advaita Acharya's appearance day, and we always hear about this truth in connection with Advaita Acharya because he's manifesting this desire of the Lord to create this material energy through the potency of Mahavishnu. But this we'll discuss tomorrow. Sri Bhagavan is the object of his devotees' love, mercifully performs all types of activities by his potencies, Jeev Shakti and Maya Shakti. These are his potencies. But he always remains separate from these activities. Immutable, he is situated in his supreme abode, in his own Swarup, resplendent with full potency, Sri Radha. So this might seem very familiar for us because we've listened to it for so many years, but these truths actually evaded so many saintly persons before Mahaprabhu advented, and before Mahaprabhu made these truths very, very clear by explaining the nature of the evolution of these material worlds is caused by Shakti, not by Krishna. They were considering Vastu, Parinavad, was transforming to create the worlds. But only on the advent of Mahaprabhu did they understand this Shakti is what is transforming. And this is what we're understanding here. It's Shakti in the form of Sri Radha, ultimately. The moving and non-moving material creation is manifested directly and indirectly from Sri Bhagavan, who is endowed with complete potencies and who is all-knowing, complete, self-manifest, and beyond any transformations. No vikar, no transformations. It is by his mercy that the factual meaning of the Vedas was manifested in the heart of Lord Brahma. That must be coming from the heart of the source for it to manifest. And by his, where did I get to? It was by his mercy that the factual meaning of the Vedas was manifested in the heart of Lord Brahma, and by his inconceivable potency, he remains unchanged, even though performing the creation of the spiritual world. The jivas and the material world, this is what he creates. These three or two other vastus are emanating from the original vastu. The original vastu is Krishna. And the jivas and the material world, Maya, are the other vastus. I worship that Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, the Lord of Golok, whose spiritual form is true and eternal. We will worship him by remembering and chanting his name, form, qualities, and pastimes, which are all spiritual, being composed of Sat, Chit, Ananda. The sublime philosophy of inconceivable, simultaneous oneness and difference between Bhagavan and his potency, Achintya Bheda Abhed, is preached by Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is established in the explanation of this verse. Without this understanding of Achintya Abheda Tattva, which was gifted by Sachinandan Mahaprabhu, this verse would not have been able to be completely understood, not in its full richness, in its entirety. Again, we are getting such deep appreciation for Mahaprabhu by understanding Mahaprabhu in relationship to this first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sri Ramananda Rai is quoting all the above mentioned evidence, intentionally attests that Sri Gaurasundar alone is factually the controller, the instigator of intelligence, to which the Gayatri mantra refers with the word Bhargo. So this is mentioned in the first line of the Gayatri mantra, this Bhargo Dimahi. He reveals that none other than Sri Gaurasundar has given this Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, Prem Tattva, and Vilas Rasa Tattva, as spoken from his Rai's mouth. So this is astonishing. All this is emanating from the mouth of Ramananda Roy, which is being impregnated by the moods and potency of Mahaprabhu directly himself. And the example is being given here of Lord Brahma revealing this Bhagavatam truths to Narad. This was injected into his heart. Tene Brahma Kridaya Adi Kavaya. Okay, build the next verse.
Prachodita yena pura saraswati vitanvatajasya satim smritim hridi swalakshana praduradbhut kilasyataha same rishinam rishabha prasidatam.
Now this verse is taken from the second canto, 4th chapter. Now we all know that in the second canto, this is the advent of Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami begins to only speak at the beginning of the second canto. And in this 4th chapter of the second canto, he's offering praise and glory to the Lord. There are 14 beautiful verses here where he's expressing his deep attraction to that Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's offering his praman to that Supreme Lord. So this is one of the verses. At the time of creation, in order to awaken within Brahma remembrance of the previous kalpa, he inspired the presiding goddess of knowledge, Divya Saraswati, who manifested herself through the mouth of Brahma in the form of the Vedas as the different limbs of knowledge. So this we discussed a little bit, touched yesterday. This Divya Saraswati, or Shuddha Saraswati. She manifests the Gopal mantra in the heart of Lord Brahma. And from that manifestation of the Gopal mantra, and from his tapasya to that Gopal mantra, then the calm Gayatri mantra will manifest in the heart of Lord Brahma, which is in the sound vibration coming from Krishna's flute directly from the spiritual world into the heart of Lord Brahma. This is all the understanding of this first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Who manifested herself through the mouth of Lord Brahma in the form of the Vedas and as the different limbs of knowledge. May Sri Bhagavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the root cause of all knowledge, be merciful upon me and manifest himself within my heart. This is the prayer of Shukdev Goswami in the Bhagavatam, right at the beginning. Sri Jiva Goswami says that the word Satyam indicates Jnanam, Antanam, Anantam, Brahm, or the supreme truth. This Paratattva is in terms of his Swarup, his energy, his thinking, feeling strength and willing, completely independent and eternally all-pervading. This is glorifying that Supreme Lord. The Paratattva is Sarva Shaktiman, omnipotent, omnipotent, Sarva Avatari, the source of all incarnations, Sarveshwari, the supreme controller, Param Satya, the supreme truth, and Parabrahm, the supreme soul. He is Brajendranandan, Sri Krishna. This is such a profound presentation if we can appreciate these truths. This is laying such a platform for the absolute reality to manifest itself on, because it's about to, because Mahaprabhu is going to show his full identity here to Swarup Damodar. So we have to be versed in this very profound tattva to appreciate what's going to come next. In his commentary, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explains that Sri Krishna is directly and indirectly the upadan, karana, or the ingredient cause of creation, and the nimitta karana, the efficient cause. So again, it's remarkable. It's, what do you call it? Serendipity. It's remarkable we're hearing these terms today, and tomorrow, always on Advaita Saptami, we unpack these terms extensively. So this upadan, or the ingredient cause of creation, and the nimitta karan, the efficient cause. The universe is created, maintained, and destroyed by him. It has complete knowledge of matter and spirit. He is self-manifest and independent. He does not rely on anyone or anything. By him, even learned persons are bewildered. Solely by virtue of his desire, he manifested the Vedic knowledge in the heart of Brahma. One may confuse the three elements of water, fire, and earth, considering any one of them to be the other. Seeing water in earth, for example, a mirage. Earth in water, like a reflection. Or fire in water, the sunrise. It seems that fire is in the water, but it's an image, it's a mirage, like a mirage. In the same manner, by dint of one's faulty intelligence, created by the three modes of material nature, one might consider the body of that supreme controller to be false, or knowledge of him also to be falsehood, because Shraddha is at the bottom of our journey, our progress is faith. So if we're considering these truths as false, how can we proceed? Consequently, any object resulting from the mixing together of earth, water and fire and air is a product of Maya's creation, is Maya Shakti. And as such, it is also false or temporary. Temporary is the word. He who directs the creative potency of Maya is not false or temporary. He who is not false or temporary. He who by his own potency, Swarup Shakti, dispels the influence of Maya or the illusory energy is forever present in his eternal abode. I meditate on that supreme controller. So this material world is not false, it is temporary. This is the nature of this material world. It's not a falsehood, but it's temporary. This verse, Janmadyasya Yata, also depicts the pastimes of Sri Gauranga. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who descended to this world, is Krishna covered by his Ashraya Swarup Sri Radha in order to taste his Krishna's own sweetness, Adasya. He manifested his pastimes of birth, Janma, in the house of Sri Sachi Devi and Sri Jagannath Mishra, Yata, from Navadvip Dham, Tata, and he later travelled Anavyat to Sri Nilachal Dham, Itarasha. He's unpacking the word for word of the first verse here. These are referencing it's the Anvaya of the first verse that my Gurudev is touching upon and explaining in relationship to Mahaprabhu. And we have this explanation of my Gurudev, the third document that we put on our WhatsApp post today, explaining my Gurudev's description that Mahaprabhu gives of what is the Satyam Paramadimahi, what is the ultimate goal of the Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is completely in tune with what is the ultimate goal of life. This is what this book is about. What is the ultimate goal of life? So the ultimate goal of life is being opened out in the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a very deep meditation indeed. He is expert, abhigna, in the subject matter of the wealth of prem, arteshu, and he, Yah, expanded, tena, the essence of the Vedas, Krishna Tattva, Krida, before the best of poets, Sri Ramananda Rai, Ya Adikavaya. Same as the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. In front of him, even learned scholars, Suryaha, are placed into bewilderment, Muyanti. When the five material elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, Tejo, Varim, Ridam, interact in the right proportions in the presence of Mahaprabhu, then an astonishing level of bhakti arises which allows those proud scholars, the fools, the poor forest tribes, hunters, aboriginals, bears, trees, creepers, etc., to attain the mercy of prema bhakti and become inclined towards Bhagavan by the effect of his own svena, his own internal potency, damna. He dispelled the illusion, nirasta kuhukam, or of jnani sadhaks, such as Vasudev Sarvabhauma. He, Yatra, manifested his opulence and glories in the three blissful dhams of Navadvip, Nilachal, and Vrindavan. Tri Sharga. He is always true and eternal. Amrisha. I always meditate, Dimahi, on that Paratattva, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, who is Satya Swarup, whose form and nature are eternal and true, Satyam Param. So this is the Gayatri mantra that is concealed, not really concealed, but it's there within the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So this first verse is what we've basically unpacked today. It's very deep, it's very significant, but with attention and focus, we can appreciate the enormity of the truth that is substantiated here as Krishna being that source, that origin, Aham eva sam eva gre. He was that original personality before there was anything else. And this is all manifesting from him. So if you take to heart these three documents that we put on our WhatsApp thread, you can see clearly these three descriptions from the one singular verse. And this now is being applied to Ramananda Rai. So we have the fourth treatise, so to speak. We have these three documents that we've placed with Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, with Bhaktivedanta Swami Narayan Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, rather, and my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. Three explanations. And then we have this layering, sitting on the throne of the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is what this final evening chapter is proposing, is saying for our meditation, that place all these sadhyas we've heard throughout these few weeks. We've heard all these sadhyas. Now place them all on the platform, on the throne of this Srimad Bhagavatam. Understand how this is being painted practically. It's almost like a picture that is painting that all these truths are on that throne of the Bhagavatam. Very clearly, because Srimad Bhagavatam will scroll through all of these truths systematically. These first 9 cantos are simply establishing Krishna as that supreme personality of Godhead in 9 cantos. Then it comes to the 10th canto, describing the very personal nature of Krishna in Madhurya Ras, in Vrindavan, and only touches for about 25 chapters there. And then immediately it goes to Dwarka and discusses the intimacy there of the Dwarka pastimes. And then the 11th and 12th cantos describe how to actually access here. So it's the same dynamic as this Ramananda Rai Sangbad. Just hear this conception, and through time, some understanding of this will come. If we regularly meditate on this divine conversation between Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu. It's very sacred, most special conversation. Okay, so Shri Ramananda Rai Sangvad Ki Jai. So tomorrow we'll come to, or not tomorrow rather, tomorrow we'll celebrate Advaita Saptami. But the day following is Madhvacharya's appearance day, I think. It's appearance day. And we will glorify him. In particular, Shamadidi, she will speak on Madhvacharya. And we perhaps might get some time after that to touch on the rest of this chapter. Otherwise, the next day is Ramanuja Acharya's appearance day, I think. And we might get some more time there. But certainly on Saturday, we will recap these final words of Mahaprabhu in this final chapter. So this is quite extraordinary. It's ending on such a high pitch of Mahabhav Swarupini, Sri Radha. That's where it's going to end. It's galloped practically through all these different stages, which in the Srimad Bhagavatam consists of 9 cantos. So we've gone through them just in a few very brief chapters here. But in Bhagavatam gives 9 cantos to come to this sadhya. So this is extraordinary treatise and document that Mahaprabhu is benedicting the faithful jiva with in this Ramananda Rai Sangha. Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. So now we're coming to our conclusion of this Rai Ramananda Sangvad. And on Tuesday, it was revealed in this final evening commentary that we are discussing. The name of the chapter is The Final Evening. How the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam is brought out as like a platform for the entirety of this whole Ramananda Rai Sangvad. So this gives it so much potency and authority. And we were saying on Tuesday how this whole Sangbad is sitting on the throne. And when we consider this whole Sangbad, we take it in its entirety, from the first proposition of Nishkam, etc., all the way through to worshipping the Sakis of Braj and Radha Tattva and Prem Vilas Vivart Tattva. When we consider all of these, this whole line of truths that we've walked through, it's exactly the same as the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's unpacking the same steps, the same truths as the Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's being substantiated in this last chapter, this final evening, where the this verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's verse 266. It's actually Janmadi Asya Yata Nivyat Itaratash Karteshu Abhignat Sura, the first verse of the Bhagavatam, is being quoted there to put everything in context. So I personally feel this is remarkable how this jewel of Ramananda Roy is so much in sync with Jaiva Dharma is the same, Srimad Bhagavatam, and of course Chaitanya Charitamrita, where this is sitting within Chaitanya Charitamrita. So all of this collectively is the sadhya, is the goal for the highest sadhya, the goal for humanity at large. Remember, initially the goal was being described as Varnashram. This was considered the first proposition, and we discussed that on Tuesday, how very rare it is to actually come into this Varnashram system. It's like those living in the barbaric Western countries. You know, what hope do we have? We're sitting with Jagai and Madai sitting way outside of the Varnashram system. So to come into contact, to assimilate our lives in accordance with those teachings is very amazing and fortuitous, and indicates great sukriti from previous births. But this, as I was saying the other day on Tuesday, this Varnashram is very special. Yet at the same time, it's just the beginning. It's just the first premise that Rai Ramananda is proposing. And then we scroll through Nishkarma Karma Yoga, Sharanagat, what's next? Gyan Mishra Bhakti, Gyan Shunya Bhakti, then Prem, then Indasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, then Kanta Prem, Madhurya Prem, then what is Radha's love for Krishna, because it's this love for Krishna that ultimately we are being gifted in this birth by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu becomes the Ashraya, becomes the lover of Krishna himself. So in that mood, that is Shuddha Bhakti. And yesterday we were hearing about Advaita Acharya. He's gifting the world Shuddha Bhakti. So to appreciate this point, and then we're erecting the pillars of rasa on the tattva of Krishna tattva, Radha tattva, Prema tattva. So all of these are brought out in this Ramananda Rai Sangbad. I said right at the very beginning, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, if you throw all the granthas in the ocean, except for the Chaitanya Charitamrita, nothing will be lost. And within that Chaitanya Charitamrita, the heartbeat is the Rai Ramananda Sangbad. So this is the heartbeat of all Tattva Siddhanta, Sadhya direction in existence, all in just one tight compilation. So take this very, very seriously. So now we've reached page 243, and we're stepping out of the appreciation of the Bhagavatam. We were saying also in the Bhagavatam, this beautiful verse, Aham eva sam eva gre, this nanyat yat sad asat param, paschad aham yad etat cha, yo vishishyateta so samyaham. This first of the Chatu Shlokis, before there was anything in existence, there was only I. But I just wanted to qualify that. When Krishna says I, it's in the same manner as a king will say, I am going to another destination, but that king will go with all his entourage. So similarly, Krishna is there, singularly, but with all his parikas. So that's what this verse means. So I didn't mention that the other day, so I thought I should mention it now today. So now we've come to the final stage where Mahaprabhu is going to reveal his true Swarup. This Rasaraj Mahabhav is going to be revealed now to Ramananda Rai. So this is the conclusion, the climax. We went through actually the conclusion in one sense was establishing the sadhya. So that is one conclusion, is the sadhya. This Prem Vilas Vivart was the sadhya. How to connect with that through the mercy of the Sakhis. That is the Abhidheya. And then we had so many 13 questions where Mahaprabhu is so kind to give us these questions. And it's exactly like when we read the 11th canto, when Krishna is speaking to Uddhav before they go to Prabhash. Uddhav is asking so many questions. There's Bhakti chapter on Bhakti, devotional service, and deity service. Varnashram is mentioned also. All of these chapters in the 11th canto correlate to these 13 questions that Mahaprabhu is asking. So this layers over Srimad Bhagavatam. Try to appreciate this point carefully. So now we've come to the final discussion between Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu. And we remember the principal teaching from previous day's class on Tuesday is that everything is being spoken through the mouth of Ramananda Rai, but it's inspired by Mahaprabhu, exactly as Lord Brahma spoke this to Narad, but it's inspired in the heart. Tene Brahma Kridaya Adikabaya. He is that Adikabaya, but it's coming through his heart from Krishna directly. And this Sangwad is exactly the same dynamic. Understand? Is that clear? Simple. Okay, so now we'll go on page 243 of our book. Okay.
266 to 270 verses. Ek samshaya mora achaya hridaye कृपा करी कहा मोरे तहारा निश्चये पहिले देखिलुन तुम्हार सन्यासी स्वरूपा ये बे तुमा देखी मुनि श्याम गोपरूपा तुम्हार सम्मुखे देखी कंचन पंचलिका तार गौर कांते तुम्हार सर्व अंग दाका ताहाते प्रकट देखी सवम शिवदना नाना भावे चंचलता है कमल नयना ये माता तुमा देखी होए चमत्कार अकपते कहा प्रभु कारण इहार.
Sri Ramananda Rai asked, O Lord, I have but one more doubt remaining within my heart. Please be merciful upon me and reconcile this. At first, I saw your form as a sannyasi, but now I am seeing your dark complexion form as a cowherd boy, Sri Shyam Sundar. And also before you, I see a golden doll, by whose golden bodily effulgence your entire body appears now covered. A flute rests upon your lips, and varieties of ecstatic emotions are causing your lotus eyes to restlessly rove about. After seeing your Swarup in this moment, in this manner, is that right? Swarup, in this manner, a most astonishing bhav awoke within my heart. O Prabhu, please abandon your deception and explain the factual cause of this. So because we know Ramananda Rai, we know his identity is Vishaka. So because of that identity, in the association of Mahaprabhu, his real identity is now waking up. And he's able to see Shyamasundar in this way. Previously, as Rai Ramananda, the governor of Andhra Pradesh, then he wasn't seeing with the same light. But now through this association, his inner identity, his own Swarup, Ramananda Rai's Swarup, as Vishaka, has woken up. Sri Ramananda Rai is witnessing both the Sannyas Swarup of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and also his Rasaraj Mahabhav Swarup. His sannyas form is Sri Krishna, eternally in separation from himself. How astonishing. Krishna's in separation from himself, performing austerities, and his Mahabhav Swarup is a manifestation of the special eternal mood of Adiruddha Mahabhav. So this is the highest mood of Mahabhav that Mahaprabhu has come specifically to experience and taste. Being supremely merciful, Sriman Mahaprabhu now desires to reveal the truth of his identity. So we know that he's very confidentially revealing this truth to Ramananda Rai, but we are all, the whole world is reading about it, hearing about it today. So Mahaprabhu understood this, that this will be revealed for posterity. So this has to be revealed, just as that form we described yesterday was revealed to Advaita Acharya, his universal form, when he approached the Lord in Navadvip, in Shivasangam. So unless these revelations of Mahaprabhu's true identity is revealed, how will people in future fully have faith in his identity? There are so many different gods, godmen they call them in India. So many godmen. And many times they're being busted like regularly. They call them the godmen. And when they get prone to the attractions of Maya, they fall down again. So we have to be absolutely assured, and we can never be assured until his universal form has been revealed, and until this form, because this is such a unique avatar, once in the day of Lord Brahma. So who is this person? Who is this avatar? When we think of Varaha, like on Sunday, it's Varaha Dev's appearance day. So all these other personalities, but they don't have anything like this loving connection with Shakti, with their Swarup, with their Swarup Shakti. So Sriman Mahaprabhu now desires to reveal the truth of his identity. Thus, a mood of majesty is manifesting here to some degree. This is Aishwarya Bhav that we're discussing. It's not Madhurya. This is why Godavari is not considered Madhurya pastime. Like Navadvip is a Madhurya pastime. There's no exhibition of Aishwarya. Puri is fully Aishwarya. When Mahaprabhu is squirting tears out of his eyes and he's exhibiting these ecstatic forms like a tortoise and in the sea, etc., all his limbs being elongated, this is all Aishwarya. Those devotees who are seeing it are just astonished when Mahaprabhu pushes the Rathayatra with his head. Even elephants and a whole army can't pull the cart, but Mahaprabhu just with his head pushes it. This is completely Aishwarya. And this Godavari, this is also Aishwarya Bhav. Even though it's such an intimate conversation, it's such an intimate exchange, but still this revelation is the revelation of Krishna's Aishwarya mood, his majesty. This is what it's saying. Thus, a mood of majesty is manifesting here to some degree, because it's about Radha and Krishna's conjugal relationship ultimately, and that is full sweetness. That is without any Aishwarya. So it's as if both of these aspects are manifesting in a singular form. Krishna's love for Radha, which is completely Madhurya, and then his exhibition of this oneness of Radha and Krishna together. And he's opening this, he's showing this. This is Aishwarya. Thus, a mood of majesty is manifesting here to some degree. Sri Ramananda Rai uses the word sandeha, doubt, which should be taken to mean astonishment in this context. Ramananda Rai is astonished. No one has ever seen or heard of this. Krishna wants to take... When Krishna is performing his pastimes with Radhika, sometimes it's described this pranaya mood, is when both of their identities exchange with each other. Radhika is convinced that she's Krishna, and Krishna is convinced that he's Radhika. So this is a most high stage of affection between them. But now this stage is sustaining itself for the whole of Mahaprabhu's advent. This Radha and Krishna Bhav together in the whole life of Mahaprabhu. It's astonishing. So it's saying here that, which should be taken to mean astonishment in this case. Understanding. Simple. To understand, but to appreciate is an ongoing journey. That's our whole journey. Sri Krishna, standing in his threefold bending pose with a flute to his lips and covered by a golden complexion, is the actual Swarup of Mahaprabhu. This is the first time in his manifestation that this is being demonstrated. When he's in Navadvip and he's showing his majesty, he's showing himself as Brajendranandan Shamsundra or Lord Narayan or his Chaturbuj or his Sadbuj form. But to see this form with Radhika, this is the first time this is being manifested. And this is the very heart of Mahaprabhu's identity. It's a very significant place. Okay.
8:271 to 273 verses. प्रभु कहे कृष्ण तुम्हार गादा प्रेम है, प्रेमार स्वभाव ये जानी है निश्चया, महाभागवत देके स्थावर जंगमा, ताहा ताहा है तार श्री कृष्ण स्फुरण, स्थावर जंगमा देके न देके तार मूर्ति, सर्वत्र है तार इष्ट देव स्फूर्ति.
Keeping his true self concealed, Sriman Mahaprabhu said to Sri Ramananda Rai, "You possess an exceedingly deep love for Sri Krishna, and it is the nature of a Mahabhagavat who has such deep ecstatic love for the Lord to not see everything simply as movable or inert. Rather, he sees Sri Krishna manifest everywhere. He does not see the moving or non-moving living entities in their forms. He only sees his worshipable Lord everywhere." Just like the gopis, when they're searching for Krishna, they're seeing Krishna everywhere, even though Krishna hasn't manifested his form directly. But they're aware of Krishna's presence everywhere. So commentary. The pure devotee, possessing unalloyed love for the Lord, does not see the forms of the moving and non-moving living entities. Rather, everything is a reminder, udipan, of the sweet pastimes of his worshipful master. In the same manner, the Gyanis see the whole world as the all-pervading Brahman, and the Yogis see the presence of the Paramatma everywhere, and everything within the Paramatma. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sa cha me na pranashyati. For one who sees me in all beings and sees all beings in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. So this is the vision of these Mahabhagavats. They're seeing Krishna everywhere. So Mahaprabhu is trying to hide. He's trying to throw this idea on Ramananda Rai. Oh, you're such a great devotee, you see Krishna everywhere. That's why you're seeing him in me. He's again trying to disguise himself. But Ramananda Rai won't accept this. What then will a loving pure devotee who is expert in tasting the ras of devotional service be capable of perceiving? His heart melts and he realizes that everything everywhere awakens the special ecstasies of remembrance of Krishna's pastimes. So again, Mahaprabhu is trying to hide his identity. He hasn't actually revealed his identity up to this point. He's about to. Okay.
8:274 Sarva bhuteshu ya pashyet bhagavat bhavam atmanah bhutani bhagavat atmani yesha bhagavatottama.
Srimad Bhagavatam 11:245. The second amongst the Nava-Yogendras, namely Sri Havi Maharaj, said to Nimi Maharaj, "O King, he who sees in all living entities and all forms of life Sri Krishna as the very soul of all souls, and who sees all living entities as parts and parcels of Sri Krishna, is the topmost amongst all devotees, a Mahabhagavat. So this is how Mahaprabhu is calling Ramananda Rai. Essentially, the Param Bhagavat sees his beloved Lord within all living entities, and sees that same prem for which he has for his worshipful deity present within all living entities. Only those great devotees, like Vyas, who know Tattva fully and who are expert in spiritual attainment, are able to understand Bhagavan. They make the incarnations of Bhagavan, his personal character, form, activities, and his supremely pure ecstatic transformations their one true goal. Consequently, they can genuinely understand his tattva. However, it is completely impossible for the demonic jivas covered by the modes of passion and ignorance to understand Bhagavan. Unless we make this our exclusive focus and goal, this sadhya, unless this is in our hearts as our greatest desire, then it cannot be attained. The Lord keeps himself hidden too, just as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing here. But when it comes to the Mahabhagavats, the Lord cannot fool them. Every object is limited or bound by the three confines of time, place, and circumstances. Yet Bhagavan's nature, which is of unparalleled depth, crosses beyond all the restrictions presented by these three limits. By his potency, known as the Yogamaya Shakti, Bhagavan conceals his own form. Nevertheless, his exclusive devotees are always able to have his darshan. You can't hide from this exclusive devotee. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada describes how Maharaj Nimi, the king of Videha, inquired from Sri Havi Maharaj, one of the 9 Yogendras, about the vision, behavior, characteristics, and speech of each of the 3 levels of devotees, namely the Uttam, Madhyam, and Kanishta neophyte. Sri Havi replied, Atmanaha, one who is free from material desires and transcendentally situated, Bhagavat Bhavam, and who has attained a spiritual body, Siddhadeha, appropriate for the service of Bhagavan, Pashyat, sees, Atmani, Bhagavat, one's own eternal transcendental spiritual body, Siddhadeha, Bhutani Pashyat, in all living entities, and who sees Ya Sarveshu Bhuteshu, all conscious entities contained within the moving and non-moving species of life, within, just like when we would be in communication speaking with our Gurudev, a Mahabhagavat, he would always make us feel we were the most important people in existence. It was a phenomena. Anyone who spoke with Gurudev, he would turn to them and they would get the feeling, my Gurudev has all the time in the world to speak to me. Even if it was going to be for 2 or 3 minute conversation, they would have the feeling that this conversation is for eternity, because a Mahabhagavat lives in that eternal world. So when he communicates with those who are not in that world, those jivas immediately get the effect of the Mahabhagavat. They get that transcendental transmission immediately of that timeless place. He always would make us feel he had so much time, and he was there to listen to our entire life story. But it would only take a few minutes and we would walk away completely refreshed. Like, yes, I've been fully, who has been acknowledged? My spirit soul has been acknowledged. That is what's been acknowledged by the pure devotee. The pure devotee is living in that consciousness of his pure identity. So if we're fortunate to have been in the association of such Mahabhagavats, then we understand what is being spoken here. This is saying how Mahaprabhu is saying that Ramananda Roy, because he's a Mahabhagavat, that he's seeing everything as a reflection of that absolute purity within his heart. But Mahaprabhu is just trying to disguise this and hide. But the commentators are bringing this out very beautifully. And this pastime from the 11th canto, when Nimi meets the Nava-yogendras, and it's saying, Ya Sarvabhuteshu, all conscious entities contained within the moving and non-moving species of life within Bhagavan. This is the vision of the Mahabhagavad. Esha Bhagavatotama is the topmost devotee, the Mahabhagavad, who always sees the mood of Savior, the one who is to be served, Sri Krishna. The Sevak, he who serves the Brijbasis, see, in everything, because he possesses profuse sentiments of devotion and is not subject to external vision. Just as I described about my Gurudev, they don't see with external vision. Everything is seeing the entirety of Krishna's manifesting this material world. It's not different to Krishna. It's the same as Krishna, ultimately. But the material desires of the jiva are opposed to that. Nevertheless, the jiva is still a pure spirit servant of Krishna. Even though he's in illusion, he's still connected. So the pure soul will only see with that vision. Understand?
275. Vanalata tarava atmani vishnum vyanjayantya iva pushpa paladhya pranata bhara vitapa madhudhara prema hrishta tanavo vavrishusma.
The gopis, afflicted by separation and sunk deeply in the remembrance of Sri Krishna, said, the trees and creepers, heavily laden with flowers and fruit, are bowing down with their branches. These creepers are haripulating on the pretext of bringing forth blooming flowers and are revealing that Vishnu is present in their hearts. In manifesting this, their happiness is flowing as a stream of honey, and the trees, who are the husbands of those creepers, are showing their happiness in a similar manner. This is the vision of the gopis. This is their complete vision. It's not that this is actually reality, what's happening from our vision. We wouldn't be seeing it like that. But the gopis are seeing like that. This verse is spoken by the lovely maidens of Braj, who are afflicted by separation from Sri Krishna. Their love and affection for him is immensely deep. On seeing the trees and creepers of the forest, the gopis think these trees and creepers of the forest are supremely attached to Sri Krishna, as we are. Just as the tears flow effortlessly from our eyes when we see Sri Krishna, so these trees and creepers are weeping streams of sweet honey. The gopis are exhibiting the symptom of Mahabhav, superimposing their own moods upon others. They are extolling others' good fortune, and out of humility, considering themselves to be worthless and destitute. It is not that Bhagavan's qualities are not revealed in the heart of the gopis. Rather, they are attributing their own sweet and most desirable bhavs upon the trees and creepers and describing that. And it's saying here they're feeling out of humility. They're feeling this, that they are not qualified. This is the symptom of prem. Prem and humility are synonymous, we've said so many times. And pride and envy on the other side are synonymous. So the gopis are fully in this mood of, I think we can leave these now. Oh, we can read one more. One more.
8 to 76 to 80 verses. Radha Krishna tomar maha prema hoy, yahan taha Radha Krishna tomare spurai. Rai kahe Prabhu tumi chada bhari bhuri, mora aage nija rupa na kari hachuri. Radhikara bhav kanti kari angikar, nija rasa ashwadite kari yacha avatar. Nija guda karya tomar prema ashwadhan, anusange premnaya कैले त्रिभुवन आपने आइले मोरे करीते उद्धार ये बे कपट करा तुम्हारा कौन व्यवहार.
Sriman Mahaprabhu continued, My dear Ramananda, you have great prema for Sri Radha and Krishna within your heart, and therefore you see them manifested everywhere. Hearing this, Ramananda Roy replied, My dear Lord, please give up this cleverness. Do not conceal your real form from me. In order to taste rasa, you have assumed the ecstasy and bodily complexion of Sri Radhika. Savoring prem is your supremely confidential business. Savoring prem. Krishna is only interested in savoring prem. How can he savor that prem? Except by accepting the mood and bhav of Sri Radhika. Automatically, you have also filled the three worlds with prem. You have come here to deliver me. Why then are you still acting with cunning? What is this behavior of yours? So we'll leave it here for today, and we'll continue tomorrow. So there are many topics, even in these last few pages, that we can actually pull out and discuss. But the overall climax of where this whole Sangvad is reaching now is becoming apparent, that Mahaprabhu is about to reveal his Rasaraj Mahabhav Swarup to Ramananda Roy. And this is the culmination, this is the demonstration of Ramananda Roy's affection for Mahaprabhu is coming out by his ability to witness and see, have the adhikar to see this Rasaraj Mahabhav. So tomorrow we'll continue. Tomorrow is the disappearance day, Tirubhav, of Ramanujacharya. So we'll also discuss something of Ramanujacharya. The next day is Ekadashi. Then the next day is Varaha Dwadasi. The next day is Nityananda Trayodasi. We're going to complete our reading of this Ramananda Roy on the very day of Nityananda Trayodasi. And that I think is very auspicious to conclude with Nityananda. We had Advaita Acharya supporting and Nityananda supporting, then it will be Lord Shivji, and then it will be finally Mahaprabhu himself. So I think just the timing itself is quite remarkable, the way we're discussing this at this point. So Sri Ramananda Roy Prabhu Ki Jai.
Jai.
Go Premanande.
Hare
Go. We've practically reached the conclusion. And last time you'll remember that Ramananda Roy is challenging Mahaprabhu to reveal his identity. Ramananda Roy is suspecting that Mahaprabhu is Brajendranandan Shyam Sundar himself, carrying his flute and so on. He has a vision of that. But then he sees a golden hue, and he's not quite sure of that. He becomes somewhat bewildered. I'll read this last paragraph that we read previously. He said, when Mahaprabhu is trying to hide himself behind the idea that Ramananda Roy is a Mahabhagavat and sees Krishna everywhere. So he's trying to disguise himself like this. But the response from Ramananda Roy is, hearing this, Sri Ramananda Roy replied, My dear Lord, please give up all this cleverness. Do not conceal your real form from me. In order to taste ras, you have assumed the ecstasy and bodily complexion of Sri Radhika. Savoring prem is your supremely confidential business. Automatically, you have also filled the three worlds with prem. You have come here to deliver me. Why then are you still acting with cunning? What is this behavior of yours? So Ramananda Roy, he's practically demanding Mahaprabhu to reveal his true identity. And Mahaprabhu, as we explained yesterday, for his pastimes, it's necessary for him to reveal his true identity in this world. So it will go down historically, so to speak, that yes, this is Brajendranadan Sham Sundar with the complexion and bhav of Sri Radhika. So just like we described yesterday, how Advaita Acharya brought out the universal form of the Lord, that had to be there to substantiate Mahaprabhu's position as the Supreme Lord. So Mahaprabhu's identity, true, and it's only this one time when it's presented in the whole of the life, the 48 years of Mahaprabhu. It's only this one time. And it's presented to none other than Ramananda Rai, who is Vishaka, who is the dearmost friend of Sri Radhika. So it's this intimacy, this loving intimacy, that will bring out the very highest conceptions of the personality of Mahaprabhu in every instance. Because later on we know Mahaprabhu goes to the Gambhira, and who is he in the company with? He's in the company of Lalita Sakhi and again Vishaka, Ramananda Rai, Swarup Damodar. And these are bringing out the highest conceptions that Mahaprabhu wanted to taste. So this connection to the Sakhis of Braj must be there. And we've just concluded the chapter previously of service to the Sakhis. This is the Abhidheya. Before and under guidance of the Sakhis we went through that extensively, understanding that this anugatya, gopi anugatya, unless we're in here, in this conception, we cannot enter into Braj, which is the prime gift of Mahaprabhu. Rag Mag Bhakti Loke Karite. He's come to give this gift of Rag, and it's such a high gift, it's so extraordinary. Coming through this whole Rai Ramananda Sangvar, we can appreciate the height of this gift that he's giving, because we've covered so many topics. And as I said before, these topics will cover lifetimes and lifetimes of practice for the dedicated sadhak to walk through. So it's enormous what Mahaprabhu has given us in this brief Sangvad. He's given us the entire journey from Varnashram, or before Varnashram even, all the way up to Prem Vivart Vilas, this extraordinary love of Radhika for Krishna. So this is what he's been, and he's giving this through the practice of Nam Kirtan, specifically with the focus of pleasing and serving the Sakhis. So this has to be all these truths, many, many truths in this Ramananda Rai Sangva. So we came through here, and then we described, after hearing Sri Ramananda Rai's statements, I think you read this last time, or did you? This Tabe Hashi Tanre Prabhu Dakila Swarup. Did you read this? Rasaraj Mahabhav.
Yeah, I can repeat.
Yes, do it again.
Yeah. 281 to 284.
On page 248 of our book.
Tabe hasi tare prabhu dekaile swarupa rasaraj mahabhav dui ek rupa deki ramananda haila anande murchite dharite na pare deha padila bhumite prabhu tara hasta sparshi karaila chetana सन्यासी रवेश देखी विस्मित हैलमन आलिंगन करी प्रभु कैला आश्वासन तुमा बिना ये रूप न देखे अन्य जना.
After hearing Sri Ramananda Rai's statements, Mahaprabhu laughed. No, we didn't do this yesterday, right?
No.
Because now he's going to actually reveal his Swarup. This is the climax of this whole Sangvad. After hearing Ramananda Rai's statements, Mahaprabhu laughed and revealed his Swarup. What was the nature of that Swarup? It was the combined form of the personification and king of the amorous mellow, Sringara Rasaraj, Sri Krishna, together with the personification of Mahabhav, Srimati Radhika. Upon seeing this unprecedented form, Sri Ramananda Rai lost consciousness due to excessive transcendental bliss and fell to the ground. With the touch of his lotus hand, Sriman Mahaprabhu revived him. Upon regaining consciousness and again seeing his sannyasi form, Sri Ramananda Rai became exceedingly astonished. After embracing and pacifying Ramananda Rai, Sriman Mahaprabhu said, Rai, apart from you, no one else can see this form. He didn't say that no one else is going to see this form. He said no one else is qualified sufficiently to see this form. So Vishaka, such a close Sakhi of Sri Radhika, born at the same moment as Sri Radhika, having the same qualities as Sri Radhika, that mridvi, that softness of Sri Radhika. So she has that adhikar, Vishaka, to witness this Rasaraj Mahabhav. This is the Swarup that Mahaprabhu has just revealed only to Ramananda Roy. Okay.
285 to 288. Mora tattva leela rasa tumara gochare ateva ye rupa dekilun tumare gaura anga nahe mora radanga sparshana gopendra sutavina teho na sparshe anya jana तार भावे भावित करी आत्ममान तबे निज माधुर्य करी आस्वादन तुम्हारा थानी अमार किचु गुप्त नहीं कर्म लुकाई ले प्रेम बले जान सर्व मर्म.
Sriman Mahaprabhu again said, you know everything concerning my internal identity and the truth of my ambrosial activities. Therefore, I have shown my special form to you. Actually, my complexion is not golden, but by the touch of the body of Srimati Radhika, it has become golden. And apart from the son of the king of Vrindavan, Brajendranandan Sri Krishna, she never touches another person. I am able to taste my own sweetness by making my mind and soul one with the mood of Srimati Radhika. Before you, I am not able to conceal anything about my true identity. I definitely tried to conceal myself from you, but because of the extremely powerful nature of your prem, I was unable to succeed in this. You have understood my internal form. You know who I am. So this is a remarkable revelation. After listening to this whole Sangvad, this whole discussion, and finally Mahaprabhu is revealing his identity, his full Swarup as Rasaraj Mahabhav, the taster of all rasa, and in the mood of the Ashraya, having the ability to actually taste the sweetness of the love for Krishna. This was his objective. So this is very powerful climax that we're just touching on here. So my Gurudev's commentary is here. Sri Ramananda Rai could understand very well that Sriman Mahaprabhu was certainly Brajendanandan Sri Shyam Sundar. In Braj, Sri Krishna could not taste the Madanakya Bhav of Srimati Radhika, and for this reason he became Sri Gauranga by taking her bhav and complexion and came to this world. So we've described this many, many times. Radhika being the Ashraya, and I've given the very simple example of the sugar and the taster of the sugar. The taster is experiencing more sweetness than the sugar itself. The sugar is so sweet, but it can't taste the sweetness of itself. Yet the taster, the Ashraya, can taste that. And Radhika, therefore, is experiencing so much more bliss. Is Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Vetiloba. The Mahaprabhu wants to taste the happiness, Sokyam, of that mood that she has for him, that Mad Anubhav, my mood. Sokyam Kasyam Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Vetiloba. This is what Mahaprabhu wants to taste. It's extraordinary. God wants to taste his own sweetness. Unprecedented. Practically, well, all the other incarnations manifest, all the avatars, they all manifest to, in their own Aishwarya glory. Nrsingadev, for example, Korma, Matsya, Lord Ram, Kalki, they all manifest in the glory of Aishwarya. But the taster of that is never demonstrated except with Mahaprabhu. What an exceptional personality is Mahaprabhu coming as the devotee who wants to taste him. So all of Mahaprabhu's pastimes are like crooked all the way through. One minute he's a devotee, the next minute he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is how he's behaving in Srivasangam. One minute he's sitting on the throne in Srivas Thakur's house, and the next minute he's trying to touch all the devotees' feet, lotus feet. So he would oscillate between these two moods of being the greatest devotee and at the same time being the Vishaya. This was in Navadvip. But practically after this meeting in Godavari, then his Sakhi Bhav, his Radha Bhav has been ignited now by this conversation. It had to take this conversation to bring this Sakhi Bhav, Radha Bhav, to its full potential. This potential is achieved at this place of Godavari. And then from this point, Mahaprabhu begins to taste the great extremities of the Madanakya Mahabhav. But actually, most of the time, it's Mohan Akya. There's Modan and Mohan. These are the two moods of separation that Mahaprabhu is experiencing in the Gambhira. He experiences for perhaps the last 12 years of his manifest pastimes, particularly the last 5 or 6 years of his manifest pastimes. The intensity of his experiencing this Vipralamba Bhav is just increasing and increasing in his heart. And Lalita Sakhi in the form of Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Rai in the form of Vishaka are there to console the Lord in his abject separation mood. And we know, previously we've said, how Gadadhar is living on the other side of the Chatak Parvat. That Chatak Parvat sand dune mountain is like the curtain on a stage, so to speak. And Gadadhar, Sri Radhika herself, is on the other side. And she's inspiring Mahaprabhu daily with the moods of the Bhagavatam. And if we consider actually just this conversation alone encapsulates, as we said the other day, practically on the entirety of the Bhagavatam itself, starting from the initial premise of Varnashram Dham and scrolling through Nishkaram Karma Yoga, and then Sharanagati, Gyan Mishra Bhakti, Shunya Mishra Bhakti, and then Prema Bhakti, and then Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva. But the moods of Radhika are expressed before that. What is the love of Radhika? Everything is here in this Rai Ramananda Sangbad. This is why Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said this is the very heartbeat of the whole of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which describes all of these most esoteric exchanges between Mahaprabhu and his devotees in Puri Dham. More than anything, in Chaitanya Bhagavat, most of the Navadvip pastimes are revealed in very beautiful, sweet moods of sambhog, practically. Mahaprabhu is more in the mood of Shamras while he's in Navadvip. And he tastes Madanakya Mahabhav in the Kirtan Ras at Srivasangam. But this Mohan and Modan, these moods of separation, are tasted in Puridam, principally, when he becomes like a tortoise. He's exhibiting these 8 Astasattvika Bhavs are manifesting, blazing in the condition, blazing condition. So Adiruddha Mahabhav is being experienced by Mahaprabhu in the Gambhira, along with Vishaka and Lalita to console him, Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda. So Sri Sham Sundar. In Braj, Sri Krishna could not taste the Madanakya Bhav of Srimati Radhika, and for this reason he became Gauranga, by taking her Bhav and complexion and came to this world. So just by hearing this, we're appreciating so much more Mahaprabhu's pastime and identity. By Sri Gauranga's mercy, Sri Ramananda Rai now remembered his own factual position. Ramananda Rai is remembering. or his previous birth as Sri Vishakasaki. Now there's actually an error in the Gaura Ganesh Dipika where it says that Ramananda Rai is Lalita Devi. I don't know how that error got there. Perhaps it was previous editors at some point, but it's certainly erroneous. Ramananda Roy has never been understood to be Lalita Saki. Ramananda Roy is always Vishaka Saki. There's a mood of Ramananda Roy that is not the same mood as Lalita Saki. Lalita Saki is very bold, pragalda. That's her mood. She's much more forthright, direct, and that is exhibited directly by Swarup Damodar. Their moods are complete. So it cannot be ever confusion here, that always Ramananda Roy is understood to be Vishaka Devi. So it's saying now his factual position or his previous birth as Sri Vishakasaki, who is qualified for the darshan of Rasaraj Sri Krishna and Mahabab Sri Radha. We've already said this today, that Vishaka has that qualification of a Brijabasi. Bhagavan is the crest jewel of the clever, and the devotee is more clever still. Vishaka is more clever still. We see when we read Vidagdha Madhav how actually Lalita and Vishaka, they are conspiring to bring Radha to Krishna, and they're making very clever arrangements to put Krishna in a compromised position so that he will accept Sri Radhika, so that he will be with Radhika. Even sometimes Krishna doesn't, in the initial stage, Krishna is not looking for that. It's Radhika who is looking for the relationship with Krishna. So by the expertise of Krishna's devotees, Vishaka and Lalita, they are able to bring Radha and Krishna together. But the devotee is more clever. It does not please Bhagavan to defeat his devotee. Very important point. Rather, he is very pleased to be defeated by the devotee. Sri Ramananda Rai, when they have their dice matches daily in Madhyana Lila at Radha Kund, and when Brajendranandan, he loses to Radhika, he's very happy. All these Sakis are clapping, they're very pleased when Krishna loses the gambling game. He's very happy when his devotees defeat him. He is very pleased when he's defeated by the devotee. Sri Ramananda Rai detected Mahaprabhu's deception in concealing himself and defeated him, thus forcing him to reveal his form as Kopendra Sutta, the son of the king of the cowherds, Sri Krishna. But he also defeated him in bringing out the bhav of Sri Radhika. Sriman Ramananda Rai did not fall unconscious upon seeing the sannyasi form of Mahaprabhu, or upon seeing his form as Brajendranandan playing on the flute. He didn't fall unconscious then, but he did fall into a swoon when he saw the combined form of Rasaraj, Sri Krishna, and Mahabab, Sri Radha. When he saw the combined form together. This is astonishing. Only once this is being revealed. This is as it should be. Sri Vishaka becomes exceedingly blissful upon seeing the form of Sri Krishna as well as the form of Sri Radha. However, seeing their combined form caused her to be so overwhelmed with bhav that it became extremely difficult for her to maintain her equanimity. Because we've understood before, I was saying how when the lovers, they reach this form of pranaya, we have sneha, man, pranaya, rag, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, etc. So this form of pranaya is when Radha and Krishna actually they become one in their thoughts for each other. Radha feels that she is Krishna, and Krishna feels that she is Radha. These forms this gives us a little window into the nature of the spiritual love, this transcendental relationship between Radha and Krishna. What is that nature? Mahaprabhu wants us to bring our consciousnesses to take great excitement or stimulation, udipan, from contemplating this form, to distract us fully from this mayic play that is going on. This mayic play that I am this material temporary body, and my material temporary body wants to enjoy matter. It constantly wants to enjoy matter. Because by nature, the spirit soul is an enjoyer, ananda sat. So if the spirit soul is not enjoying service to the Supreme, it's got to look for pleasure in this temporary material world. It has to be happy, one way or another. It's seeking happiness. But we know the anomaly of this is that he never finds the happiness. And he finds, contrary to that, he finds unhappiness. That's what he finds. So it's an intelligent, sensitive person will wake up at some point and stop trying to find this happiness or sweetness in them. So by hearing Anugrahaya Bhaktanam Manusyam Deha Ashrita, Krishna is saying at the end of the Rasa Panchadya that I manifest myself to attract the jivas to my service. So by hearing these pastimes of Mahaprabhu manifesting as none other than Radha and Krishna, because definitely he becomes fully Radhika. We hear in the Shikshastakam, Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Vam Vishvam Bhuvam. In the 5th verse of Shikshastakam, Ainanda, this is when a female is calling to a beloved. Mahaprabhu fully immerses himself in the last 4 verses of the Shikshastakam. Aslisya Vapadaratam Panashto Mam. This final verse, that even if you come in front of me with many lovers, you are still my prananath. The last verse of Shikshastakam. He's fully immersed in the mood of Radha. It's not just he's wanting to taste that, he is immersed in that form. He becomes Radhika, just like he becomes Radhika in their exchanges of love in that pranaya mood. He becomes fully Radhika. In fact, this form of Rasaraj Mahabhav is the essence of all the qualities of all the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is what we've just said. None of these other forms of Krishna in their other incarnations have that dual personality of Radhika and Shakti. Shaktiman becomes literally one. Not just one in a tattva, but it's become literally one only in the incarnation of Mahaprabhu.
I just wanted to mention, it would have been helpful if they had included a picture of this.
Don't you have a picture in your mind? We have the beautiful painting.
Yeah.
And yes, you can find the painting and you can see. But the speciality that's going to be mentioned,
There it is, yes.
yes, you can see. This is Rasaraj Mahabhav. Rasaraj Mahabhav. It's the golden form of Mahaprabhu. He's both. He's both. Simultaneously. This manifestation of an avatar has never manifested before. Once in the day. So what an abundance of compassion and mercy that singular form is distributing. The other great personalities, Krishna, for example, appearing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, showing his universal form to Arjuna and the different Pandavas, etc., and defeating all the Kshatriya warriors, etc., purifying yada hi dharmasya glani bharaviti, just purifying the whole planet, is nothing as great as manifesting with his own Shakti. Those were like external pastimes of grandeur. But the inner heart, what is Krishna's heart, is filled with Radha. And what is Radha's heart? It's filled with Krishna. So to see the combination of those two together in the form of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and what he's and how he's distributing that in the darkest age of Kali. This is the dark, out of 1,000 ages, this is the darkest age of Kali. Men's minds are so distracted. But we've had experience. When we wake in the morning, we just take this gift of Harinam, and immediately, all of these disturbances are being purified and pushed away from the mind. It's so powerful. This Harinam Mahamantra, Kaler Dosha Nidhi Rajan, Asti Hyeko Mahanguna, Kirtana Eva Krishnasya, Mukta Sangha Parambraja. This Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, but there is one good quality. This holy name, this kirtan of the holy name. So how merciful is Mahaprabhu? When we contrast our suffering, if we're not chanting, we will be suffering even more. If we haven't caught up the potency of this holy name, this is so unfortunate at this time. So our time has actually gone over. I wanted to leave something for tomorrow also. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. I'll read a little bit more because we're going to get backed up here. So I'll read a little bit more here. It is said that both Brajendranandan, Sri Krishna, and Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu are the very essence of Godhead. But how has this duality come about in the Supreme Lord? Sri Krishna and Sri Gaura are not separate tattvas. Gaura is not a separate tattva. Rather, they are one. Externally, Sri Gaura is golden due to accepting Sri Radha's sentiments and complexion. But internally, he's Krishna. Mahaprabhu is always Krishna, but he's covered by the bhav of Sri Radhika. In much the same way that in his manifest pastimes, Sri Krishna assumed various disguises, such as a lady florist, a doctor, and a lady bangle peddler, thus performing his pastimes of disguised identity. Likewise, he has assumed the form of Sri Gaurasunda, concealing his internal form in order to taste Mahabhav. This Mahabhav is a very tricky, twisty mood. So Mahaprabhu's pastimes are very tricky and twisty when we become deeply immersed in considering his identity. He covered his opulence and displayed his sannyas form. And then, in his sannyas form, he revealed his opulence simultaneously. He kept that internal identity very sacred within him, but at the same time, he was pushing the rath cart with his head. When all the army of Prataparudra couldn't even pull the rath cart, then he told, take all the army away, and he pushed it with, how much more Aishwarya can that be? And shooting fountains of tears from his eyes. How much, all the residents of Puri could see that. That's completely Aishwarya. At the same time, he has this softness and sweetness of Radha Bhav internally. So it's monumental. The mood of Vishaya, the enjoyer, and the object of the devotee's prema is prominent in Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna is always the Vishaya, the king of the transcendental amorous mellow. Whereas in Sriman Mahaprabhu, where the blackish body of Sri Krishna is covered by the golden complexion of Sri Radha, whose very nature consists of the highest ecstasy of Madanakya Mahabhav, the prominent mood of the Ashraya, the enjoyed, the receptacle of prema for Bhagavan. It's deep. You know, it's both, the Vishaya and the Ashraya combining, the sugar and the taster. It's inconceivable. It's completely achintya, isn't it? Without Madanakya Mahabhav, it is not possible to taste Sri Krishna's unparalleled sweetness. Each and every one of Sri Krishna's limbs is covered by the limbs of Sri Radha. Factually, the complexion of Sri Krishna's body is not golden. It is simply because each one of his limbs is covered by the golden limbs of Sri Radha that he is seen as having a fair complexion. Both Sri Gaura and Sri Krishna are the self-same Krishna, and both are the enjoyers of Sambhog Ras, the happiness of meeting, which means that both are the enjoyers of Vishaya Vigraha. So both Radha and Krishna are like the Vishaya, at the same time they're both like the Ashraya, simultaneously. Furthermore, taking shelter of the golden complexion and sentiments of the Ashraya Vigraha, Sri Radha, in the mood of separation, or Vipralamba Ras, then Sri Krishna is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I'm going to stop now because we've gone over our time, but this last paragraph is very significant, and perhaps we'll unpack it more tomorrow if we have time. But I want to conclude this Sangvad by tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll conclude. There's just a few more pages left, so we'll conclude tomorrow. Then Sunday we have no class, and on Monday is Nityananda Trayodasi, where I want to conclude these live streams on Monday, on the Nityananda Trayodasi. So tomorrow we will just conclude this Ramananda Rai Sangvad. But please appreciate how significant it becomes as we conclude, because the revelation of Mahaprabhu's Swarup is being revealed. Mahaprabhu, the most complex personality, carrying two forms, the Ashraya and the Vishaya. None of the other avatars in existence have done like this. Varahadev, which is on Sunday, nothing to do like this, you know? Matsya, Korma, nothing like this. So what an exceptional personality is Mahaprabhu. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. Shri Rasaraj Mahabhav ki jai. Sachinandan Gaurahari ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. So we've practically reached the conclusion of this remarkable treatise, or this remarkable conversation, which is most certainly linking us in to the complete picture of Sachinandan Gaurahari and his connecting with Vishaka Devi in the form of Ramananda Rai, and distributing these highest truths, walking us through page by page of these extraordinary truths of what is the sadhya, what is the complete goal of life, the ultimate goal of life. So we discussed the ultimate goal is this Prem Vivart Vilas. Ultimately, when Sri Radhika, her love, sees a tamal tree and thinks it's Krishna, and she runs to embrace it, she becomes so distracted in her mind, this Divyan Mad, and then these Udgurna moods welling in her heart. So these are extraordinary, high subject matters of the spirit soul's worship towards the Supreme Lord. And if we can just hear them patiently and appreciate them, and not be thinking, oh, that can be me at any point. But if we're just concerned with the principle of appreciating the sadhya, and then making our life molded in the focus of that sadhya, then our lives will be thoroughly successful. So yesterday on page 251, we read the last paragraph through quite quickly. So I want to read it again today. It's in the middle of page 251 in our book. So it's saying that without Madanakya Mahabhav, it is not possible to taste Sri Krishna's unparalleled sweetness. So that's quite a remarkable statement, that this Bhav, Madanakya Mahabhav, is only in Sri Radhika. So only Radhika fully tastes Sri Krishna's sweetness. No one else tastes it to the extent that she does. She's his Swarup Shakti. So no one else, none of the other gopis actually, they may have a shadow of this, Lalita, Vishaka, etc., a shadow of that. But in full, this Madanakya Mahabhav is experienced exclusively by Sri Radhika alone. She's the Kaya Vyuhar of she's the source of all the other Sakis. Each and every one of Krishna's limbs is covered by the limbs of Sri Radha. Therefore, Krishna himself is going to be able to taste this Madanakya Mahabhav. Right? Krishna wants to taste his own sweetness. That was his desire. Sokyam kasyam mad anabhavita kidrisham vetilobat. that he wants to taste the happiness that Sri Radha experiences by receiving the sweetness of his love. So he wants to taste that. Therefore, without this Madanaki Mahabhav, it wouldn't be possible to taste Krishna's own unparalleled sweetness. This is the meaning of the previous sentence. Each and every one of Krishna's limbs is covered by the limbs of Sri Radha. So therefore Krishna, in the mood of Radha, this Radha Bhav, then he's able to taste himself. Factually, the complexion of Sri Krishna's body is not golden. It is simply because each one of his limbs is covered by the golden limbs of Sri Radha that he is seen as having a fair complexion. Mahaprabhu, he wanders throughout South India with his arms raised high, chanting the Mahamantra, and his beautiful golden form is so attractive to all the residents of South India because it's Sri Radha directly. His form is directly a manifestation of Sri Radhika, but within is the black shyam hue of Sri Krishna himself. It is simply because each one of his limbs is covered by the golden limbs of Sri Radha that he is seen as having a fair complexion. Both Sri Gora and Sri Krishna are the self-same Krishna, and both are the enjoyers of Sambhog Ras. So Gora and Krishna are the same, even though within the body of Gora there is the Bhav and Kanti of Sri Radha, but it's still Krishna as well. So therefore Krishna is going to be able to taste this Sambhog Ras, the happiness of meeting, which means that both are the enjoyers of Vishaya Vigraha. This means Gora and Krishna both will enjoy this Vishaya, this place of being the enjoyed. Gora and Krishna will both experience that taste, the taste of being the sugar, so to speak. Furthermore, taking shelter of the golden complexion and sentiments of the Ashraya Vigraha, Sri Radha, in the mood of separation. Now, it's another conception, in the mood of separation. And we understand, my Gurudeva said conclusively that Mahaprabhu practically never experiences union when he's in the renounced order. The last 24 years of his life are almost exclusively in Vipralamba Bhav. Practically exclusively. Once or twice he has darshan of Krishna. But it's this Vipralamba Bhav that Mahaprabhu is mostly immersed in, practically exclusively immersed in. Then Sri Krishna is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So he's Sri Krishna Chaitanya when he has that mood of Radha experiencing the Vipralamba. So this is the tattva that's being explained. This is a very important paragraph here. Dear Lalit Nayak, this is the hero, Krishna. 4 types of heroes. Dhirodata, this is actually compared to a personality like Lord Ram, Dhirodata. Then there's Dhirodat, Dhirodata, with a short O. And this is compared to someone like Bhimsen, that sort of mood, quite arrogant sometimes. And then there is Dhira Shantaha, and this is being compared to Yudhisthira Maharaj. He has that mood also. It's all 4 qualities are Krishna, but to get an understanding of the nature of these heroes, these characteristics, these qualities, they're compared to different personalities like Ram, Bhimsen, and Yudhisthira, just to get an idea. But Krishna is all of those different personalities. He has those different qualities within him. Just like Sri Radha has the quality of Vrishabhanu Nandini, Viyogini Nandini, and Samyog Nandini Radha, Samyog Sri Radha. These 3 qualities are within Sri Radha. So this dear Lalit Nayak, and it's described in the footnote that Sri Krishna is portrayed as dear Lalit Nayak. The hero is characterized by skill in amorous pastimes, fresh youthfulness, expertise in humor, the absence of anxiety, and submission to his beloveds. He's a carefree prince of Braj. That's the mood of dear Lalit Nayak. The only place where it exists is in Braj. Sri Nandanandan, the original Godhead, is the only form of Sri Krishna Sri Vishnu, able to enjoy Sri Krishna's Swarup Shakti, Sri Radha, who is the complete Chit Shakti. Nrsimhadev, he enjoys the company of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is a expansion from Sri Radha, from Swarup Shakti. All the Lakshmis of Vaikuntha are expanding from Sri Radha, and all the gopis are expanding from Sri Radha, but the ultimate quintessence, the topmost personality, that Adyantika, Adhika, Madhvi, Mridvi, this is Sri Radhika, the topmost. And only Krishna enjoys, who is the complete Chit Shakti, that Swarup Shakti. No other form of Vishnu, only Gopendra Sutta, Sri Krishna, the son of the king of the cowherd community, partakes of Sringara Ras, the mellow of amorous love, and is dear Lalit Nayak. All others have strong feelings of Aishwarya. We described that yesterday, right? All the other avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Vamanadev. Tomorrow we'll celebrate, Varahadev, yes, Varahadev tomorrow. And then Vamanadev and Nrsimhadev, and all these different personalities, none of them exhibit these amorous pastimes. They're all, Ram is the previous avatar to Krishna. So he is establishing Maryad, this Purushottam Maryad. And only Krishna is tasting this Leela. He's Leela Purushottam, Krishna. Therefore, Sri Radha alone is described thus.
Govinda Nandini Radha, Govinda Mohini, Govinda Sarvasva, Sarvakanta Shiromani.
This is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 4:82. Actually, it would be nice to also read through the 4th chapter in its entirety at some point soon. Because the 4th chapter in Adi Leela and the 8th chapter, this Ramananda Rai Sangvad, are most complementary. And to get to digest both of these chapters, then we actually have the heart of the Chaitanya Charitamrita conclusively. So this verse, Sri Radha gives pleasure to Govinda. She is his enchantress, his all in all, and the crown jewel of all his sweethearts. So we heard at the beginning, after all the rasas were mentioned, after Kanta Ras or Madhurya Ras, then Radha's love for Krishna was mentioned. Before the Krishna Tattva and the Radha Tattva were mentioned. This love of Radha, because this is what Mahaprabhu is going to taste. This Madanakya Mahabhav, which is only in the heart of Radha. No one else has that. Okay.
89 and 290. Gupte Rakiha Kana Na Kariha Prakash Amara Batula Cheshta Loke Upahas Ami Eka Batula Tumi Dvitiya Batula Ateva Tumaya Amaya Hai Samatula.
Sriman Mahaprabhu said, O Ramananda Rai, please keep my actual identity, the axiomatic truths, and what I have shown you secret. Do not reveal them to anyone. People may laugh, since I always act like a madman. Actually, I am a madman, and you are also. Therefore, both of us are on the same platform. So now this madness will be unpacked and described, what sort of madness this is that Mahaprabhu is in. Full of humility, this is the commentary, full of humility, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining that in this world of mundane logic and dry speculative knowledge, one should not present these talks before the unqualified non-devotees. And remember, we said that the other day, how Krishnadas Kaviraj is celebrating because those camel ass-like men who are immersed in logic and unqualified, they're unqualified devotees, they will just go to sleep when you start talking about these topics. They will just leave. They won't be there. I've actually seen that when my Gurudev has been speaking sometimes, some very beautiful pastimes. Then I've seen individuals just fall asleep. They just don't connect with it because it's not their adhikar to connect. It's no problem. Everything's in process. Everything's step-by-step process. Such persons who are subject to mundane material intelligence and addicted to logic, argument, and word jugglery cannot understand the value of such topics, and by laughing at such topics, they will become offenders. Therefore, don't tell them. Don't open this treasure box in front of very unqualified people who are going to disrespect this topic and laugh at these topics, thinking that they're just imagination, or what do you call it? They say in India all the time.
Myth.
What is it?
Myth.
No, they say about Krishna's historic Leela. What do they say? There's a word for it.
Mythology.
Yeah, mythology. That's the word. Oh, that's what you said. Oh,
I
did
said myth. I said myth.
Myth, yes, myth, correct, yes, myth. They say it's mythology, or mythology, the Americans say. Mythology. So yes, mythology. That's horrible when I read that. Mythology. And so often they're saying like that because the Indian media are very good at presenting beautiful topics, but they always premise it with this, it's mythological. As if, it's the material scientists have got hold of it and they won't allow it to be authentic. Word jugglery. Cannot understand the value of such topics. By laughing at such topics, they will become offenders. One should properly understand the word pagal, or madman, to mean premon mad, or one maddened by the influence of prem. It's described that a madman, materially, he can't weep. He has nothing in his heart. But a madman spiritually is weeping copiously because he has a heart so full of love that it falls out of his eyes. That's why Mahaprabhu squirts these tears, because his heart is so packed full of emotional feelings. He squirts it out, but a materially madman has nothing in his heart. It's dry as a bone. Just clang, clang, nothing there. Tragic. One whose every endeavor is performed under the influence of prem for the happiness of Krishna. That's what prem means, to run to satisfy Krishna's happiness, his calm, and who is intoxicated by the nectar of the path of Raganuga Bhakti, cannot be understood by persons absorbed in the rasa of material enjoyment. We spoke about that yesterday, that if we're not getting the spiritual pleasure, then we're going to be automatically looking for the material pleasure. And if one is imagining he's getting some taste from that, he's absolutely unqualified to even approach these topics, because he's actually getting some taste for that, rather than be detached from that entirely. At the time of death, what will be? What's that beautiful expression by Srila Pramodananda Saraswati? He says, "Oh brother, at the time of, when you close your eyes in death, where will your mother, father, family, friends, wife all be? Where will your good intelligence be? Where will your control over others be? Where will your reputation be? Leave all these things immediately and just run to the forest of Vrindavan." So all of those things constitute our material life, our involvement. Practically from the very beginning, we're trying to shore up our reputation in the world, what people think of me. I think this whole Facebook thing is just what people think of me. You got the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And sometimes people, they live their lives by that. Am I being acknowledged? Isn't it? That's called pratishtha. And I'm probably the most one with most of that. And I'm trying to purify myself by reading this. The materialist will consider the prem-filled endeavors of the devotees to be a form of madness. When someone is attracted by Krishna prem, he abandons all material endeavors and is said to be divinely intoxicated or transcendently maddened. So my Gurudev is qualifying this action when Mahaprabhu is calling himself a madman. Sriman Mahaprabhu declared, "O Ramananda, you are seeing me as a separate golden person, but I am not. I am Brajendra Nandan, Sri Krishna. My mood is Gora, my mood as Gora has come about by the touch of the body of Srimati Radhika, and it is eternal. So we just sang that beautiful bhajan, Bilvaji sang that beautiful bhajan, that everything we hope, this is our aspiration. Our aspiration is we hope that all our desires will become to be united with Gora constantly, in dreams, walking, sleeping, talking, wherever I'm going, I'm thinking of Gora. Because this is the highest conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is Gora. It doesn't, without the Aishwarya, when the Aishwarya has melted through the prem, then the phenomena, the astonishment that Krishna has melted with Sri Radhika's bhav and kanti is amazing. Says Sri Radha, Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Swarupam. Whoever is able to understand the basic truth of Sri Krishna Chaitanya and of Sri Radha and Krishna can, by the mercy of Swarup Goswami, be enabled to obtain eternal service according to his actual eternal form. Why are we saying Swarup Goswami? This is Swarup Damodar. Why are we saying him? Because he's Lalita Sakhi, and all the youths are under Lalita Sakhi, just like in Jaivadama, the first person that Premdas Babaji mentioned. Look, Lalita Sakhi is going to be disturbed. She's the boss. Ananga Manjari, she's indicating. She's like second. But Lalita Sakhi is the boss. Swarup Damodar has that place. So it's saying Swarup Goswami, isn't it? So we are all under guidance, ultimately, of Lalita Sakhi. Or you might be in Vishakagam, or you might be in any of the Astasakigam. But principally, our Gaudiya line is under the tutelage of Lalita Sakhi.
291 to 294. Ye Rupa Dasharatri Ramananda Sange Sukhe Gunaila Prabhu Krishna Katha Range Nighuda Vrajera Rasa Leela Vichar Aneka Kahila Tar Na Paile Par Tama Kansa Rupa Sona Ratna Chintamani Ke Hayadi Kaha Pota Paya Eka Khani Krame Utaite Seha Uttamavat Supai Aicha Prashannottara Kaila Prabhu Ramarai.
Sriman Mahaprabhu spent 10 nights like this with Sri Ramananda Rai, happily discussing topics of Sri Krishna. The pastimes in Vrindavan are very confidential. They described these pastimes at great length, but still they could not exhaust the subject matter because they're infinite. They have no end. Consider a person who digs and extracts from a mine many varieties of valuable substances such as copper, bell metal, silver, gold, jewels, and wish-fulfilling jewels. And in the process, he extracts items of increasing value, one after the other. Exactly thus, by the method of questions and answers, Sri Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu extracted higher and higher axiomatic truths, essential, elemental truths. When it's the absolute truth, it's so powerful to consider and meditate upon. It will impact the very elements of the body. This is the pran. It will affect the pran. It will touch the pran. Only the truth will touch the pran. If it's fictitious at all, it will just not be effective. It's like if we listen to some Hari Katha, for example, and you're very, very touched by it. But if you wake up the next morning and you're still being touched by it, it's proof that this was actually a bona fide Hari Katha you were hearing. But if in the morning you wake up and the whole Hari Katha is actually just not there anymore, it's probably not delivered by someone who's like a Mahabhagavat, for example. It's not going to be sustaining in the heart. It's not going to remain. It's not going to hit the eternal pran. Always we can judge things like that. In the current verses, Sri Kaviraj Goswami has given copper, bell metal, silver, etc. as examples to describe a variety of sadhyas, because that's what we've scrolled through, a varieties of sadhyas, each one superior to the previous. But when you're in those sadhyas, it's not superior. If you're following Varnashram, you think, yes, that should be the highest goal for everybody. That's the mindset. The descriptions begin with Varnashram Dham and conclude by revealing the topmost limit of sadhya, which is Madanakya Mahabhav. So just in a nutshell, my Gurudev is going to summarize the entire Rai Ramananda Sangbha in code, but we can capture it. All of this is accomplished by the stratagem or method of questions and answers. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya rasas are compared to copper, bell metal, silver, gold, and Chintamani jewels, respectively. In Vrindavan, the water of Jamuna, the sand of the riverbanks, the Kadamba trees, cows, sticks, and flutes are all manifestations of Shantaras. But my Gurudev has also said at another time that there's no Shantaras in Vrindavan, because all of these Udipans are all serving Krishna in a mood of Dasyaras, ultimately. But just for the sake of the comparison with these minerals that are being mined, my Gurudev is saying this is like in Shantaras. But we should know a deeper perspective that there is no Shantaras in Braj. Nothing is neutral. River Jamuna is not neutral. The cows are not neutral. They have such a relationship with Krishna. Krishna's flute is not neutral.
All conscious.
It's all conscious, yes. So it's not neutral, actually. But still, for the sake of this comparison here, my Gurudev is saying Shantaras, to have all the 12 rasas included. Golok Vrindavan has 12 rasas, Vaikuntha has 2.5. So we've said at another time, all these 12 rasas are listed. If you look at the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, and if you look on the back cover of that Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, and Rasamanjari, we will post it, and you see all the 12 rasas are described in that one verse. It's a very beautiful verse to see the 12 rasas of Braj. So Chitraka, Patraka, Raktaka, and others are embodiments of Dasya Ras. Dham, Sridham, Subal, and others are embodiments of Sakya Ras. And Nanda and Yashoda are the embodiments of Vatsalya Ras. Lastly, Sri Radha, Lalita, and the other gopis of Braj are wealthy in their own respective bhavs in Madhurya Ras. None of them are the same in their own respective bhavs. Lalita, for example, is a Apekshika Adhika. Radhika is Atyantika Adhika. There's a distinction. Starting from copper, the succeeding metals increase in value through bell metal and silver and gold, etc. In the same way, from the initial sadhya of Varnashram Dham, there is an incremental scale of bhakti. That means increased scale of bhakti. An increased scale of bhakti throughout. This is what this whole beautiful Sangvad is about, just an increased scale of bhakti in terms of superiority, but always, yes, superiority. There is a gradation in the examples given. Copper is like following Varnashram Dham. As copper is common, of little value, and considered not worth keeping, it is thus rejectable. It's not spiritual, it's the external. That's what he said. This is not pertaining to the soul. Mahaprabhu only wants to hear topics pertaining to the soul. This Varnashram Dham is within the category of Arop Siddha Bhakti. What is Arop Siddha Bhakti? That bhakti that we imagine we are, and we are. Rupa Goswami condones this, but Arop Siddha Bhakti is like if you like painting, so you just do a painting for Krishna, but your first desire is to fulfill your own creative feeling, or you like cooking, you like being in the kitchen. So, but if you're cooking exclusively for Krishna, that's Swarup Siddha Bhakti. That's a completely different type of bhakti. So there's Aropsita Bhakti, or we can even call Aropsita Bhakti sometimes Sakam Karma Yoga, like Dhruva Maharaj. He went and meditated for a particular reason. So that's a particular sadhya. This is what we're going through, the different sadhyas. Aropsita Bhakti, an activity which is not in itself composed of bhakti, but is termed bhakti. Bell metal bronze is a mixture of the two metals, copper and tin, and it is equivalent to Gyan Mishra Bhakti, which is not the topmost sadhya. Pure silver is like Swarup Siddhi Bhakti, which is superior to an alloy, a mixed metal. Gold is compared to Prema Bhakti in the mood of Dasya. It is better and more developed than Swarup Siddha Bhakti. So Prem is beyond. Bhakti is the process. Prem is the goal, is the experience. This Bhakti is my devotional mood. This Swarup Siddhi Bhakti is like pure Bhakti, pure devotion. But what is the result of that pure devotion is Prem. So Prem is actually higher than Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Understand? It's the goal of Swarup Siddha Bhakti. Jewels correspond to Sakya and Vatsalya Prem Bhakti, by which Sri Krishna is controlled. The ultimate jewel is the Chintamani, or the wish-fulfilling jewel, representing the Madanakya Mahabhav of Srimati Radhika. This is extremely rare and fulfills each and every one of Sri Krishna's desires. It's so rare, only Sri Radhika possesses this Madanakya Mahabhav. But the other gopis, Lalita and Vishaka, they have a semblance of that, a shadow of that. I've said a couple of times already this evening, this Apekshika Adhika Mridvi. This is Radhika. She is the highest, and there is no one even close to her. And the next stage that is described is Apekshika. That is Lalita Sakhi. She is the next stage down. She is relatively great to Sri Radhika. So there is gradation in the highest bliss. So we are hearing this to serve the highest proposition. Not that we are going to achieve that. This is not about us. It's about them. It's all about them. From the very beginning of Rasa Tattva, it's all about their progress and understanding the science of the love between them. And the more we immerse ourselves and drown ourselves in contemplation of their exchanges, then the more we will naturally feel blissful by that meditation. But the principal focus should be our devotion to them, not like some upward, trying to achieve something. Like a yogi will be going through different stages trying to achieve some ultimate nirvanic place. It's not like that. It's like an appreciation of these truths and melting the heart in appreciation of these truths, in service, in devotion, because that is the quality of all of these moods, is the depth of the devotion that they contain, isn't it? Which fulfills every one of Sri Krishna's desires.
8295 to 302. Aradina Rai Pashe Vidaya Magila Vidayera Kale Tare Ye Agnya Dila Vishaya Chadiya Tumi Yahanila Chale Ami Tirtha Karitaha Asiba Alpakale Duyujana Nila Chale Rahiba Ek Sange Sukhe Gunai Bakal Krishna Kata Range Ye Tabali Ramanande Kari Alingana Tare Gare Pataya Karila Shayana Pratakale Utti Prabhu Deki Hanuman Tare Namaskari Prabhu Dakshine Karila Prayan Vidyapure Nana Mata Loka Vaishe Yata Prabhu Darshane Vaishnava Haila Chadi Nijamata Ramananda Haila Prabhu Virahe Vibvala Prabhura Dhyane Rahe Vishaya Chadiya Sakala Kshamkshepe Kahilo Ramanandera Milan Vistari Varnite Nare Sahasra Vadan.
So in the previous paragraph to these last verses, it's saying that the ultimate jewel is the Chintamani, or the wish-fulfilling jewel, representing the Madanakya Mahabhav of Srimati Radhika. So that is the ultimate sadhya for us to serve. And how do we serve? This extremely rare mood is ultimately service to Sri Radhika, and the ultimate service for the jivas now, gifted by Mahaprabhu, is Manjari Bhav. This is actually our ultimate goal. We can understand that from this last, because now we're going to go into another sort of area, so to speak. But this is the final lessons on what is the sadhya. The sadhya is Madanakya Mahabhav, contained in the heart of Sri Radhika. That's what's pleasing Krishna the most. So if I serve Srimati Radhika, I am supporting her effort to please Krishna in that Madanakya Mahabhav. And what is the most intimate, confidential way to serve her is in the mood of a manjari. The Sakis, they also serve and support her so beautifully, but even more intimate, just like when Krishna is in his most intimate pastimes with Radharani. Sometimes his hair gets entangled in their earrings. When they're in their most confidential pastimes, the Sakis can never enter at that point, but the manjaris can come in very expertly, take the hairs out from the earrings and untangle them. It's as if they're not even there because they're so pure. Their service is so pure. That is the quality of the manjaris. And this is what Mahaprabhu has come to gift us. Not Sakhi Bhav. Don't ever think that. Because who is the Sakhi that you're getting the Sakhi Bhav from? And then someone might say, well, who is the manjari that you're getting your manjari Bhav from? I will say Raman Manjari, my Gurudev. Or Kamala Manjari, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Or Binod Manjari, Srila Param Gurudev, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. All manjaris, they're all Rupa Manjari, all the way down the line. This is who I'm getting that manjari Bhav from. So if someone says that they're in Sakhi Bhav, you ask them, who is the Sakhi that you connect? Like Mahaprabhu himself is showing this example. He's come to the Godavari. He's getting this Sakhi Bhav ultimately from Vishaka. It's waking up that potential in his heart. There always has to be that connection. We have a very nice document, file from the text of Vilap Kusumanjali when my Gurudev was speaking to the ISKCON gurus about these topics, and they were asking him relentlessly, is it all right to try to achieve Sakhi Bhav? And they were asking again and again and again and again, and my Gurudev was responding. And finally, this was the final thing, he said, who is the Sakhi that you're going to get? Because you have to have this lobe, you have to have this Greek. So who is the lobee? Who is the person that you're getting it from? That's the ultimate consideration. So this Sakhi Bhav is not available now, because who is the Sakhi that you're getting it from? All our line from Mahaprabhu, who is the principal exponent and teacher of Mahaprabhu's instructions, it's Rupa Goswami. Who did more than that? Purandar did more than that? Ramanuja, who was way before. But any of these other personalities, are they carrying the direct moods and instructions of Mahaprabhu about Braj Ras and Braj Prem? Is there anybody? You sure?
That's why he came, Maharaj. That's why he accepted. He accepted.
Mahaprabhu, you do? Yes. Only Mahaprabhu can give this through Rupa Goswami. So this is like the conclusion. Now we're going to go to a different topic. Next day, Sriman Mahaprabhu begged Sri Ramananda Rai to permit him to leave. When departing, the Lord ordered him, give up all material business and go to Nilachal, Sri Jagannath Puri. I will quickly finish touring the holy places and return there. The two of us shall remain together in Nilachal and happily pass our time discussing topics of Sri Krishna. This is Mahaprabhu's plan for his next 18 years practically. We're into his probably the 22nd, 23rd year of when he's beginning his sannyas ashram, his renounced order, and then he spends 18 years in Puri, in the company of Ramananda Roy, for those whole 18 years. Saying this, Sriman Mahaprabhu then embraced Sri Ramananda Roy, and after sending him back to his home, the Lord also left there in order to take rest. After rising from bed the next morning, Mahaprabhu had darshan of Hanuman, and after offering him obeisances, the Lord departed for South India to continue his tour of the holy places. So it's interesting. To begin with, he had darshan of Nrsingadev in that beautiful temple, and at the end, he has darshan of Hanumanji. So it's protected. These are very, very powerful personalities, Nrsingadev and Hanumanji. They are protecting the confidentiality of these truths, just like when we have our Harikatha, we always chant 3 Hare Krishna Maha mantras under. At the end, to close the door. That's the idea of that, to keep it contained. So there's Hanuman at the end, and there was Nrsingadev at the beginning. Very sweet. The commentary. After this, he arrived at Vidyapur, where all the residents followed different religious persuasions. Some would be Advaitavad, some would be Ramanuja, some would be influenced by Madhvacharya, Nimbaditya. All these different sampradayas would have had their influence throughout the whole southern continent of India. But after seeing Sriman Mahaprabhu, they gave up their own philosophies and became Vaishnavas. On the other hand, Sri Ramananda Roy was so overwhelmed in separation from the Lord that he gave up all his material affairs and became completely immersed in meditation upon him. Ramananda Roy had the luxury to just sit back and totally absorb himself in the topics that they'd just discussed. Ramananda Roy's mind had been blown, we can say, by seeing this Rasaraj Mahabhav that had never been shown before to anyone. This was the first and only time that this Mahabhav is going to be actually shown, and it's directly, completely, it's described that Ramananda Roy could absorb and assimilate darshan of Krishna with his flute. That was okay. But then when he saw Krishna covered by Radhika, then he fainted. Then it became too much overwhelming for him too. Because he loves Radha too, and he loves Krishna. So how is that darshan that he actually had? Because it's such a remarkable conception that Krishna wants to be covered by the bhav of Radhika. He's controlled by Radhika in Braj, this Samartharati. All the gopis, they control Krishna, right? But to be covered by her bhav completely, that's phenomenal. That's something unheard of. So Ramananda Roy, he'd considered all these other topics so deeply. He quotes from Shastra all the way through. He's so well versed. He's such a profound scholar, as well as bhakta, devotee, etc. Vishaka. But this part just stumped him completely. This was just like over the top. So this is Mahaprabhu. This is actually who is Mahaprabhu. So this is the first time he's showing the world who he is. We've lived with this conception for what, 30, 40 years or so. We've heard this conception, so we've kind of digested it to some degree. It's not sort of something astonishing anymore. We haven't perhaps realized it, but we're on the road, in progress to realizing it. So it's not astonishing it as much as it would have Ramananda Roy. He was just blown away by it. So it's saying that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj explains here, gave up all his material affairs and became completely immersed in meditation upon him. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj explains here, I have briefly described, the meeting between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. No one can actually describe this meeting completely. It is even impossible for Bhagavan Sri Sheshnag, who has thousands of mouths. And we also have gone through it very briefly. We've gone through it in about 6 weeks, I think. We're just about, this is the last page. So it's, we could pick out all different topics to churn over. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that the worship of Hanuman is performed in Vidyanagar. He is the deity of that village, and after offering respects to him, Sriman Mahaprabhu continued on his tour of the holy places of Sri India. I just find it significant that Hanumanji gets a place at the end. like the bookmark, when you've got a book stand, you've got Nrsingadev at the beginning, you've got Hanuman at the end, and it's protecting it. Okay.
83032-307 Sahade Chaitanya Charitra Ghana Dugdapur Ramananda Charitra Tahe Khanda Prachur Radha Krishna Leela Tate Karpura Milan Bhagyavan Ye She Kare Kare Ashwadhan Ye Iha Ye Kabar Piye Karna Dware Tar Karna Lobe Iha Chadi te न पारे रस तत्व ज्ञान है इहारा श्रवणे प्रेम भक्ति हया राधा कृष्णेर चरणे चैतन्येर गूढ़ तत्व जानी इहा हैते विश्वास करी सुना तर्क न करी चित्ते.
The character and activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are just like condensed milk, and the character of Sri Ramananda Roy is like sweet sugar candy. Mixing them together produces a supremely sweet substance. The pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna are like adding camphor. One who is able to taste this substance is most fortunate. One who is able to taste it, not become it. That's not our objective, what we just explained. It's to taste it, to taste the speciality, sweetness.
Taste, not to merge into it.
Yes, yes. One who is able to taste this substance is most fortunate. Anyone who even once receives this through the doorway of the ears becomes greedy to relish it further still, and his ears will never want to stop hearing it. By hearing the talks between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one becomes enlightened with the complete transcendental knowledge of Rasa Tattva, the mellows of Sri Radha and Krishna's pastimes. Everything is here. And he can achieve Prema Bhakti for the divine couple's lotus feet. What does that mean, achieve Prema Bhakti? That means my love becomes overflowing towards the desire to serve them and bring them happiness. This is what Prema Bhakti means. It doesn't mean like a yogic stage. It means, because in Jaivadhamma, Sannyasi Thakur, he asks, is this Advaita Siddhi the same as Prem? There's a whole discussion about this in Jaivadhamma. And it's described, no, Advaita Siddhi doesn't have the object and the subject. It's just about you achieving something like a yogi. Whereas Prem always has to be two. And we are serving that Prem. So there's three. There's the Jiva also serving Radha and Krishna. It's like when we chant the Maha Mantra, there's actually three Ishtadevs. There's Radha and Krishna and Prem. It's like in between the two of them. There's a current of Prem, like a magnet between the two. So it's three that we serve. He can achieve Prema Bhakti for the divine couple's lotus feet. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are extremely confidential, and this confidential knowledge is received only by submissive hearing. Sometimes we read scholars on the internet proclaiming various aspects of the truth as if they are understanding all of that, rather than the mood of submission and savor to those truths. When we hear a mood of service to those truths, the heart becomes very joyful and melted. It's about the service to these truths that we are hankering to hear, not to just scholarly present them. That is not our objective. Do not allow your mind to make any type of speculation in this regard, and hear these talks with full faith. Just take them as they are, without construing all kinds of different things within them. Okay.
308-312 Alaukika Leela Ye Parama Niguda Vishwashe Paya Tarke Haya Bahudura Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Charana Yahara Sarvasva Tare Mile Ye Dhan Ramananda Raye Mora Koti Namaskar Yar Mukhe Kaila Prabhu Rasera Vistar दामोदर स्वरूपेरा कदाचा अनुसारे रामानंद मिलन लीला करीला प्रचारे श्री रूप रघुनाथ पदे यारा आश चैतन्य चरित्रा चैतन्य चरितामृता कहे कृष्णदास.
I just have to say at this point a moment for expressing my gratitude to Sri Bilbamangala Thakur for all the way through. He's chanted these verses so beautifully. If you follow along with his recitation, they're completely perfect, and it's a pleasure to hear and add efficacy, add fidelity to what our subject matter is about. So I'm really, really grateful. So here's the translation. This part of Sriman Mahaprabhu's pastimes is most deep and confidential. One who has faith can achieve this. Shraddha is the rock. It's faith that will increase daily. Actually, moment by moment in the day, our faith is increasing. It's not a static thing. It's not, oh yes, I have faith. I heard all that before. Now I have faith. No, it's not like that. One who has faith can achieve this, while it remains very far from those subject to faulty mundane logic. He who has accepted the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu as his all-in-all can attain this transcendental treasure of rasa. So a couple of days ago we had the appearance day of Advaita Acharya, and day after tomorrow we've got the appearance day Triodasi of Nityananda Prabhu. So we're completely in line here. We're in a place to receive this divine mercy at this time. I, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, am offering millions of obeisances to the lotus feet of Sri Ramananda Roy, from whose lotus mouth Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spread the wealth of Prema Ras. This pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's meeting with Sri Ramananda Roy has been described in accordance with the notebooks of Swarup Damodar. And those notebooks have come through the lotus mouth of Sri Raghunath Das into the ear of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj. So it's two, because Raghunath was in Puri for 14 years, some say 15 years, witnessing directly these pastimes. So, and he was carrying the truths of Swarup Damodar's realizations in his heart also, and his notebooks. So this is what he's poured into the ear of Krishnadas Kaviraj. So how can we not have absolute implicit faith in these teachings and writings? This is written exactly. If there's any anomaly, if there's anything wrong, it's the editors. But the actual words of Krishnadas Kaviraj are supreme and faithful. That's why it's actually so wonderful to hear the Bengali each time. Bengali creates the platform of fidelity, because this is what Krishnadas Kaviraj has actually written. This pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's meeting with Ramananda Roy has been described in accordance with the notebooks of Sri Swarup Damodar, desiring the mercy of the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Raghunath Goswami. I, Krishnadas, narrate this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is the final sentence of this nectar. Completely, it's a heavy treatise. It's amazing how much wealth is in this Raman. I didn't realize when we first started this 6 weeks ago just how much wealth was here. I had a notion, because we've been through it before in Puri a few years ago, but the actual, to have the opportunity and the honor to speak it publicly has been a great joy to go through every word of this book. We've been through the entirety of the book. So I hope that all the listeners have collected enough treasures to continue their meditation. And in future, perhaps in about a month or 6 weeks, I think I'll go through the Adi Leela chapter 4, which will support this even more. Personally, I'm going to go to Radhakund for Gopurnim this year, and then I'll be in Mayapur after the 20th of March, and beginning of April, perhaps, I will do this Adi Leela chapter 4. So thank you all for your attentive listening. Is any question come to mind? We have 1 or 2 minutes.
I was just thinking about how Krishna is.
You have to speak loudly so they can hear it also, so I don't have to repeat it.
Yeah. Krishna is Satchit Ananda
Right.
Vigraha.
Right.
So he's full in eternity, knowledge and bliss. Yet Mahaprabhu's advent is sort of pointed to the fact that there's some lacking in Krishna and Krishna's understanding of his own sweetness. So how can we reconcile?
Very simply, just like the sun planet has the rays of the sun as its Shakti, as its energy, or the heat. The heat is emanating from the sun planet, but the sun planet doesn't have complete understanding of the nature of the heat or the light that it spreads. The sun planet is the source. Is it clear? But it doesn't, huh?
Like the sugar.
Like the sugar, yeah. Just like the sugar example. The sugar is separate from the taster. The taster is his energetic, his Shakti. His Shakti is looking at the sun planet, so to speak. This is most clearly appreciated by chapter 14 of Jayavadama. This chapter 14 has to be read repeatedly. Shakti Tattva.
Sugar may be told that it is sweet, but the sugar itself doesn't know how sweet it is.
Yes, yes.
Sugar cannot taste itself.
Its own sweetness. So it doesn't know that. So even though Krishna, the sugar, is omnipotent, knows everything, but it doesn't know its own sweetness. Isn't that beautiful? And only Mahaprabhu is the one who's called on it, who said, yes, I don't know this part. Krishna performed his pastimes in Vrindavan, but there was something lacking. He didn't get the highest taste as Radha got. Radha tasted much more bliss than Krishna did. We've described many times. Krishna, he experiences up to the stage of Mahabhav, and Radhika is Rudha and Adiruddha, 2 stages more. These blazing sattvika bhavs. Krishna doesn't experience that because he's the object. He's the sugar. So it's just like a son, for example, is manifesting from the father. The father may know many things about the son, but he doesn't actually know the heart of this. It's a separate entity. So Krishna doesn't know everything, no. He doesn't know everything. He certainly doesn't know everything about the heart of Radhika. Radhika really bewilders him sometimes. Venum karanne patitam shkalitam shikandam prastam chavisa Venu. What's that? Venum. Oh, how can I forget this verse? Venum karanne patitam shkalitam shikandam. Premamritam.
Brahma Samhita verse.
Go with the one.
165, just a minute, I've got to get it. Now I've spoken, I have to say it. I say these verses every day, but when it comes to actually saying them,
Venum konantam aravinda
Venum,
dalaya.
that's it.
Venum konantam aravinda dalaya taksham barhavatam.
No, Venum kara. Yasya kadaksha saragarate vimurtitasya tam radikam paricharami kadarasena. When will the time come when I can continuously render service in Ras to my Swarup Srimati Radhika, by whose shower of arrow-like sidelong glances Sri Nandanandan faints. His flute tumbles from his hands, his crown of peacock feathers falls from his hand, and his yellow cloth slips. He's not in control when he's with Radhika. He doesn't know Radhika. That's the phenomenon. Nice question. Okay, we'll stop. Thank you all so much for your attention for these last 6 weeks, and I hope everyone has taken something of the treasure according to our adhikar from this amazing Sambad. Shri Ramananda Sangbad ki jai, Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami ki jai, Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki jai, Ananta Koda Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Go Premanandi.